Welcome to another episode of ArtCo Drone Solutions Saturday Night Live, number 107, on your AM dial or FM. You're probably wondering, why is Art invisible? Well, I just got a new t-shirt from Iguana Solutions. Yeah, it says, "Got you, Iguana." And it's a pretty nice shirt. It's a long sleeve shirt. That's why you only see my hands. So it's kind of cool. So we've got a great show today. The DJI Flash drone, FPV drone, went on sale this week. And a lot of folks got their new drone, and they've already been testing it out, and some of our guests that we're going to bring in soon, they will tell us all about it. Also, I'll talk about my drone recovery that I did today with magnet fishing. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk a little bit about the drone meetup in Florida in 2 weeks, which will be a blast. So let's jump right into it. And what we'll do is we'll do On This Day in History. All right, in 1479, the Treaty of Aclacovas, Portugal, gives the Canary Islands to Castile in exchange for claims in West Africa. 1836, the Battle of the Alamo. Alamo? No, it's Alamo. After 13 days of fighting, 1,500 to 3,000 Mexican soldiers overwhelmed the Tetson defenders, killing 182 to 257 Texans, including William Travis, Jim Bowie, and Davy Crockett. Also in 1857, the Dred Scott decision. U.S. Supreme Court rules Africans cannot be U.S. citizens. 1869, Dmitry Mendeleev presents the first periodic table of elements to the Russian Chemical Society. 1899, aspirin. I am not going to try and pronounce this word. Acetylsalicylic blah 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 acid, patented by Felix Hoffmann at the German company Bayer. All right, let's go over to film and television. 1959, the 11th Emmy Awards, Playhouse 90, Jack Benny Show, Raymond Burr win. 1967, WACS, TV channel 25 in Dawson, Georgia. PBS begins broadcasting. 1980, Emmy 7th Daytime Award presentation. Susan Lucci loses for the first time. 1981, Walter Cronkite signs off as anchorman of CBS Evening News. 1985, Yul Brynner appears in his 4,500th performance of The King and I. 1995, the 9th American Comedy Awards, Rodney Dangerfield. 1996, the 10th American Comedy Award, James Burrows. Oh, and that was film and television. On to music. In 1808, the first college orchestra in the U.S. was founded at Harvard. 1831, Vincenzo Bellini's opera La Sonnambula premieres in Milan. 1853, Giuseppe Verdi opera La Traviata premieres in Venice, not Vienna, Venice. 1965, How to Succeed in Business closes at 46th Street, New York City after 1,415 performances. 1967, the second Academy of Country Music Awards, Merle Haggard and Bonnie Guitar win. 1970, Beatles release Let It Be in the UK. 1974, Over Here musical written by Richard and Robert Sherman opens at Schubert Theater, New York City for 341 performances. Top grossing production 1974. 1983, On Your Toes opens at Virginia Theater, New York City for 505 performances. And that is film and TV. Let's go to sports. In 1867, the 29th Grand National, John Page wins aboard Irish 16-1 shot Cortovan, trainer Harry Lampoug, second GN victory. Okay, let's just skip ahead. 1895, England beats Australia to win one of the best cricket series ever, 3-2. 1895, J.T. Brown hits the fastest 50 in the Test cricket, 28 minutes. England versus Australia. 1906, Cubs signed third baseman Harry Steinfeld to complete the Tinkers Evers a chance. 1919, NHL Championship. Montreal Canadiens beat the Ottawa Senators 3-1 with one tie. 1922, Babe Ruth signs a 3-year contract with the New York Yankees at $52,000 a year, which was a lot of money back then. 1945, George Neeson of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, receives a patent for the first modern trampoline, and that is all on this day in history. Alrighty, and before I scoot over, oh, cool. Sean Oliver just messaged me. Oh, drone art. Oh, I'll have to show that a little later. Let's get back to the show and let's bring up our first guest. Hold on. I gotta close that. There we go. Okay, before we bring up Chuck, I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Chris Wedgeworth, Steve Mack, Sleeping Bear FFG, Covacation, Dronography, Dumb2, Jerry Bauer, John Olson, Tom Tentos is here, Margie TV is here, and Michael Wright, Ted's Arc Drone Guy, Fly Zone Drone Quadcopters. And that is it. Let's go ahead and bring up our first panelist all the way from Syracuse, New York. He's going to tell us a little bit about the his FPV drone that he just got from DJI. Let's welcome to the show, Chuck.
Can you guys hear me?
Kovac.
Do I have audio?
Yes, we have audio now.
All right. Hey, everybody.
That's great.
Yeah, I had to reboot this beast. It was being ornery, Art.
Oh,
You're
boy.
Mr. Invisible, man.
Yep, I am invisible.
I told you
I
that
got
green shirt would do that. I did.
So you got the DJI FPV drone.
I do. You know what's the best part about this thing? The startup. Listen.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
just epic. And you can customize the lights. So, of course, they're blue because blue is the coolest.
Awesome.
It flies good, too.
Oh, good. We've been hearing a lot from everybody in the dronosphere about this. Some love it and some hate it.
There's no in between with this thing, from what I can tell. It's certainly binary. You love it or you hate it. And
Yep.
And personally, I love it because I'm a Mavic pilot in the past.
Cool.
And the demographics of this thing are clearly targeted at me or pilots like me. All us guys that fly Mavics and FAMs and stuff, that's what this thing is bringing us over to the dark side of FPV slowly. It's like today I only flew it in normal mode.
Oh.
And it's in normal mode, it's like a very controlled fixed swing.
Right.
You can go, you know what I mean? So you everything banks really nice and smooth when you're flying it.
Oh, cool.
But you still have a gimbal that goes this way. So when you hammer down, the nose of the drone goes down, but the camera stays just dead straight ahead. So the only thing you really see is like the pitching, which is quite cinematic and cool. I had to stop because of snow. I couldn't see the thing. It was snowing so hard.
That.
Yeah, imagine that.
In Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, it never happens, Art. Never happens, man.
So tell us about the camera on it. Is that a 4K camera on it?
4K 1/2 sensor. Yep.
Wow.
So it's just
that's
like
pretty good.
Yeah, it's like the Mavic Pro was. It's like the Mavic Air, the Mavic Mini.
Right.
It's that same sensor that's so common. I think the Air 2 has a 1/2 incher, doesn't it? If I recall. I think it does.
It could be.
Yeah. So but the lighting was good. I did get the freewell filters as well. I tried to do an unboxing, and my video went all haywire on me, so I unboxed them and nobody saw a darn thing. Here's the open box. Whoops. Here's the open box.
Right.
So they just push on the camera, which is kind of cool. They're held on with friction, pretty easy to work with. So
Cool.
There's nothing in the settings right now where you can tweak like your shutter speed or anything that I could find. So DJI, you know how they are. They tend to release quick.
Yeah. I imagine the firmware update will probably change all of that. Thank you, Steve Mack. There's my my Teespring where darn, I've got some cool coffee mugs, and I have masks there, and hopefully you could see them at my Teespring store. I have to do some adjustments. It's weird. Every time I update it, it doesn't show all of my merchandise. I think what it does is it just stays on the original merchandise, and it doesn't update all the merchandise. So it's like I have different stores or something. I got to figure out how to get it all together. So
I struggle with
one
that
of
too,
the
Art.
complaints that I heard is if you land hard on the battery, you're screwed.
The landing feet are in the bottom of the battery.
Right.
Whoops.
Over the other one. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's a little I'm going backwards. But yeah, actually when it lands, at least in normal mode, I haven't tried sport and I haven't tried manual mode is when you unleash the fury. The beast within is just blah. So I'm not there yet. I'm not there. Little baby steps. But anyway, yeah, it lands on the battery. But in like normal mode, it comes down just like a Mavic. It just you go and land, and it just drops down straight down, and sets down gentle. It's not like a typical FPV drone that's gonna come skidding in for a landing. Like
unless you're like Ken Heron, who likes to come in a bit
comes in
hot
hot
on pavement.
Comes in hot. Yeah,
yeah.
That's Ken's style.
What happened. He came in a little hot, and it bounced, and it acted like it was okay. And he started to fly away, and then he got battery error after that. And then...
Yeah, I saw that, and I also wondered. He said he had a problem with recording footage, and right. I noticed something this morning before I was going to fly the first time. I was looking at my SD cards, and they're all U1s. And I was talking to that's not enough, not fast enough. I was
you gotta go to U3.
And yeah, if I grab some
4K camera, you need a U3.
Well, ironically, Art, the U1s that I have from Samsung, the Evos, always worked great with the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom and the Mavic Air and everything before. But so it was kind of startling. It pops up and it says SD slow is what you get. So I just wonder if Ken had an issue with maybe that, or which I doubt because he's pretty with it with the cards. But you can put a card in the glasses or the goggles, and you can also put a card in the aircraft, and you can tell in the software you can select if you want to record from just the goggles, if you want to record from the drone, or both together. You can choose. So I wonder if he screwed up something in that line there in the settings.
It could be. Yeah. Could be.
Still not his style though. He's usually pretty thorough with stuff.
I think he had an issue with the SD card in one of his previous videos when he discovered that he didn't have the right SD card. He has to make sure that you have a U3 SD card in there. Otherwise, I mean, with these high-speed cameras like
yeah. Let's see. They actually go right in the front here. It's kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
Right down
cool.
See right down in there.
Okay.
Whoops. Wrong way. Keep going the wrong way. I'm sorry.
There we go. I see.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, that's where your USB-C connector is too.
Oh. Now, that cover, is that kind of like a soft silicone cover?
No, it's actually more of a harder it's flexible, but it's a firmer plastic. It doesn't feel like the silicone like on the Mavic 2 series. It's a little more rigid. Okay, almost more like the Mavic Air. Do you remember the Mavic Air had like a more... Do you remember it had the harder plastic?
That's right. It had that little door on the back. And
yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah.
And like Spark. Spark had a similar thing too. But I just downloaded the footage. I finally flew today, like I told you, and I've downloaded the footage just connecting USB-C to my computer and just grabbed all the files and have to take the SD card out. But the SD card pops out a little further than it does on some of the other DJI aircraft, so it's a little easier to grab onto with your fingers.
Careful, it doesn't go boop. Where
yeah. Well, I got the Samsung Evo Pluses or whatever they are from Best Buy today to meet the spec, and they're red, so they show up pretty good. Unless they go flying across the room. I didn't have that problem yet. I'll knock on wood. Not yet.
Yeah, that's what I've got on my Mavic Air 2. Yeah, and what I like about that, it's got a softer door on it, where on the Evo, on my Evo, it's like a hard plastic, and you'll break a fingernail trying to pry that open.
Oh, that'll make my wife mad. Speaking of mad wives, she came with me. She was my spotter, because with the goggles you need a spotter.
Right.
And the plan was I was flying first because it's mine. But she's really into it. She was really excited about flying it. So
cool.
She was supposed to fly it, but then the weather roared, and we had really heavy snow earlier. Then we had light snow, and I said, "Quick, let's go now over to the school and try her out in the open field." And yeah, I brought it down, put a new battery in it, and the snow started to pick up, and I was, no flyy for her yet, but next time she's really excited about flying it.
Oh, that's cool. That's great when your significant other is interested in some of the things that you like.
I I think she's going to be better at FPV than I will be. Honestly, for one thing, she didn't pay for it, so if she crashes it, there's less fear factor about like, yeah, like, oh, sorry, honey, yeah, just buy another one, send it back to DJI, get it fixed.
I want to say hello to Ray Kelly.
Hey, Ray.
And Ron, RL Photography. And Dre from Recovery One Drone. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. We've got a good crowd. And somebody is messaging me. Oh, Jerry Cavalry. Yeah. Hopefully he'll come into the show. And I'm hoping that Jessica will join us, because then she and James could talk about lizards, because he lives in the Philippines, where they've got monitor lizards, which are very similar to the Komodo dragon, and they've got poisonous snakes over there. So
nice.
I mean, here in Colorado, we've got diamondback rattlers. We've got prairie diamondbacks, and then we've got the kind up in the mountains, but they don't go too high because of the altitude. It gets colder for them, and so I think they tend to stay below 7,000 feet.
Interesting. But we have them here in upstate New York too. It's more up towards like actually down towards the Catskills and up towards the Adirondacks. You'll find them. Rattlesnakes and bears.
I've been here like 50 plus years, and I've never come across a rattlesnake. Now I've come across rat snakes, corn snakes, garter snakes. That's about it. The only lizard I've come across it's called a skink. And
skink.
Yeah, SKINK. Skink. And they're found in southeast Colorado. And I was going to my friend's ranch, and as soon as we pulled up, we're getting out of the car and walking up to the door. There is this lizard right in front of the steps there. So I'm like, oh, cool. I went to get out my phone to take a picture, and he was gone.
Wow. Yeah. Missed opportunity. That happens a lot, though. It's
yeah.
How many times have we tried to photograph or video something and we just couldn't get our gear? Since the gear wasn't ready, we missed a shot. Bummer, Art. That happened. Yep. That happened to me this morning. I was driving the wife to work. She works Saturdays. It's tax season, and there was a train coming over that 10-foot 9-inch bridge that I love so much down on the Parkway. And just as we were approaching, it was the shot that I've always wanted to capture with the drone, Art, where the train's just approaching. It's just approaching the bridge. And like, so I'm driving my truck, and like, sure that, the train comes over the bridge and everything. I'm like, oh, that would have been so epic with the drone. It's just, I'm never at the right place at the right time. Someday, maybe. That's bridge and train porn right there. That's perfect stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's just sweet.
Yep.
One of these days, though, you'll catch the lizard and I'll catch that stuff.
Well, also in southeast Colorado, there is a snake called the milk snake, which looks just like a coral snake, only the band colorizations are opposite.
Yeah, that scares a lot of people. Yep.
Yep.
And then they don't realize the real coral snake's there, and then they die. Because coral snakes are highly poisonous, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are poisonous. And, Ray Kelly says you should see as many 2 to 3 foot iguanas while you're in Florida. Yes.
So you guys are going down, in another week and a half?
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I'll be there on the 17th.
Yeah. I wanted to go and be chastised with my FPV drone, but I can't go.
There you go.
You guys will have a really good time, though. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun video footage floating around from all the antics, for sure. I'll live
Well, I'm gonna
vicariously through you.
do a lot of fishing and drone flying while I'm down there, and
which drone you gonna bring, Art? Or drones?
Mavic Air 2.
The Air 2? Nice.
Yep.
That pack's so nice and small. It's pretty
Yeah.
epic. Do you have a smart controller for that, Art?
No, I don't. I'm kind of,
You resisting?
debating on whether I should get one.
Yeah. Got mine here.
Ooh, cool. Nice.
You will like it. Don't resist. Resistance is futile.
I'll trade you an Autel Evo for it.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. This thing is command comm for 3 Mavic 2s. I need it.
There you go.
It's no, it's really convenient. It starts up so fast, and the connectivity is really solid.
Yeah, you don't have to mess with the phone.
Right, and you can have multiple.
Brighter too.
Yep. 900 nits. It's solid.
Oh, 900. Okay, that's.
I think it is. I think it's 900. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, cool.
It's plenty bright enough, I will tell you that. And it connects to. I have 3 Mavic 2s connected to it, and it's cool, man. You just switch between them.
Cool.
It's a slick little device.
Cool. Maybe I'll get one. I'll sell the Autel Evo, and that should be plenty enough to buy the smart controller.
The smart controller, yeah, you ought to be able to find a smart controller even used. I mean, I would think. Until when the Mini 2 gets connectivity with it, which I expect it will, since they're all OcuSync 2, maybe it'll be a little tougher to get them on the used market because, well, heck, it's twice as big as the Mini 2. You carry a lot more gear.
Yeah, that's true.
The cute little Mini 2, this little teeny tiny Mini 2, and you get this great big smart controller. But yeah, keep your eyes open. Probably want to pop up.
I'll do that. Michael Wright says he's going to be bringing 4 to 5 different DJI drones, Florida. Wow.
Nice. Gonna carry those all on, Tex? They all coming on board? I have a hard enough time carrying 2 Mavic 2s with me. I can fit 2 Mavic 2s, the smart controller, 5 batteries, 1 on each drone plus 3 more, and then the 2 Osmo Pockets and all the other chargers and cables and lions and tigers and bears and a laptop, and in my carry-on, that's my little backpack that's a personal item. So I don't know how he's doing it. What's he carrying?
Drone quadcopter. See how much for the Evo? Brand new, I think they're going for about $1,000, and this one is really lightly used. Make me a deal and we'll work something out, because I sell that puppy. I could go get the smart controller
or just have more beer money. But yeah,
there you go. Well, I mean, the smart controller is probably what, $600-700.
It's it's I think brand new is $750 US right now. It was $650 US when it came out. That's when I grabbed it. But
right,
I think the trade was it that
cool.
The last administration bumped up the ante on Chinese stuff a little bit, which seemed to only hurt us consumers a little bit. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But yeah, you can find them used though, Art. I don't think there's a lot of discount on them, but they're floating around.
Right.
Or just get a new one. I mean, if the Evo goes for a fair amount, you should have no problem. You just grab one.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Thanks, Fly Zone. Yeah, we'll work something out. Cool. And let's see. So today I did a little.
You did a thing.
I was trying to do some drone recovery today. About a year ago, I lost my Mavic Air,
Oh.
and at Lake Harbor. So a couple weeks ago, I went and bought a uh, fishing magnet, and what it is, it's a really powerful magnet that comes with a long nylon rope. This thing even came with gloves that, with these screwed up hands, I can't get the gloves on. That's because the rope it's kind of rough on your hands. And so I got it all, you gotta screw it all together, and then you gotta unravel all that rope, and then I got out to the area. Good to see you, Cleve. So I got out to where approximate area where the drone crashed or landed, and unfortunately, with my short height, I can't get a whole lot of distance. So I get it out there about 10 or 15 feet, and that's as far as I could get. But I did get some video on it, and I'll probably premiere it tomorrow. It's up on my YouTube page, but it's you know how it is. You upload it, and what it does,
takes forever to go high def.
Percolates and gets it all going. So by tomorrow, it'll all be ready to go. And
Art, did you consider using a drone to bring the payload out further, and then maybe if you have a release device, if you tried to pick up something that the drone couldn't pick up, you could just open up the release device and just let it go and sacrifice the magnet and the rope and get the drone back. But I mean, as a redundancy kind of thing, that would be cool. Maybe get like one of those. Get a Matrice. A Matrice could do it. A Matrice could carry the payload.
Matrice would be able to do it.
And Inspire 2 would probably be a lot cheaper, and that would do it too. Mm-hmm. Maybe even a Phantom, though. You think a Phantom 4 could carry a pretty good payload?
That might be pushing it.
Maybe pushing it?
Yeah, it might.
Maybe not DJI. What about like a hexacopter? Like a hexacopter? Yeah.
It's a what?
Like a hexacopter. Ones with six, six props. You could do it. You can do it, man. It'd be awesome. Think of that. You're a drone guy. You should have that thing out there fly. Go way the hell out with the magnet.
Yeah.
Bring her
down. If I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be living in Section 8 housing. But
so that's just frugal. That's good. Then you can have money for the big ass drone and make it all and go fishing.
Yeah. The only thing I picked up was some magnetic rock and a fishing jig.
Pick up magnetic rock? You mean the rock with a lot of iron in it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got some pretty good size little pebbles about the size of a dime stuck to it. I'm like, oh, cool.
What have you gotten in the past? What you get in the past? Anything? What kind of cool stuff have you caught magnet fishing in the past?
This is my first time.
Oh, I thought you were a seasoned
this is the first
magnet
time
fisherman.
I've done it. So,
okay. All right. Yeah, you got to up your gear. You definitely, being a drone guy, you must use a drone to do this, and you have to. You just have to, man. It's like obligatory.
Well, we've got some pretty good sized creeks and rivers with bridges over that I could do some magnet fishing that way.
Just don't get the magnet stuck to the bridge.
Well, this has 600-pound pull on it.
Yeah.
And it got stuck to the the metal bench I was sitting on.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, I have. Yeah. I bought a magnet from Home Depot because I couldn't find my 19 whatever CB antenna magnet. The magnetic mount CB antenna.
Yeah.
I had one of those great big antennas. It's probably like 4 inches in diameter. The big magnet. Well, I bought one because I wanted to mount my Osmo Action to the roof of my truck to drive through like a light show.
Right.
You know, those drive-through things.
Mm-hmm.
So I found one at the Home Depot, and yeah, if it's anything like that, Art, those things stick like glue. In fact,
oh yeah,
it's awesome because you don't have like the cold weather, you don't have to worry about the suction cups. Kind of like they lose their grip when it gets cold and stuff. The magnet does. The magnet just hangs on, man. The thing, it's awesome. So if you're using anything like that, that's gonna work great.
How many pounds was your magnet? How big was it?
It was about 4 inches in diameter, 3.5 inches, I think.
You probably got the 1,000 to 1,200 pound.
No, I thought it was rated for like a couple 100 pounds, if I recall.
Oh,
which I figured was a good safety factor for an Osmo Action.
Ones?
Yeah, it's only probably a half-inch thick, and then has the steel chromed housing around it.
You know, it's pretty thick. It's about that thick.
Yeah.
No cleave. I haven't got the drone out of the water a few months ago. Nope.
Oh man. Did you ever try to get her back? Did you ever use one of those get her backs before you lost a drone? I wonder if anybody watching has ever used the get her back, because it's a thing that kind of like you attach it to the drone, and then if the drone goes in the water, it senses the water and it releases like a bobber that goes up like 120 feet.
One of those. No.
It's kind of a cool idea, as long as it's not deeper than 100. I think it's 120 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lake up here, Seneca Lake, that's like 400 feet. So you'd have to nest them. You'd have to have like 5 of them nested together. It's 450 feet deep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a deep lake. One of the Finger Lakes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Made by the glaciers.
Yes, sir. We talked about this in the past.
Yep. That's right.
Mother Nature carved them out.
Yep, that's right.
That woman has some big hands.
Yeah. Yeah, now this lake, I think the maximum depth is like 15 or 20 feet.
That'd be perfect.
Oh, I might be able to get under. Okay, we could try that.
There you go.
Cool. Might be kind of tough because the water's kind of murky in this lake.
Even though it's pretty shallow, just,
Yeah.
You say 20 feet?
Well, I mean, where I was, it's probably maybe 3 feet deep.
Oh, goodness. I mean, is it?
But if you're way out in the middle of it, cool. With the...
He's got a grasp on it. Nice.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd make a really cool video too.
Yeah, it would.
I've seen a guy do it before. He was trying to grab, I think somebody lost a Mavic in like a shallow pond, and they were trying to get it back with the underwater drone and spot it and stuff.
Hey, let's welcome all the way from Rapid City, South Dakota, actually Somerset, South Dakota. Let's welcome Ron Lockwood.
You got a good memory, Art.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Chuck, how are you?
Good to see you. Long time no see.
Yeah. Home for a couple days.
Feeling better?
That's good.
Yeah.
I know you had a rough go with the second shot of the COVID vax, man.
Yeah, I'm still not right.
That's not good. I don't mean to laugh. That's not cool.
No, it's just, I mean, I'm okay. I don't feel myself though.
It's weird.
It's been rough going since November.
It's that government TV camera floating around in you now.
Watch out. He's spying on you guys.
About underwater drone, you have one going through your blood vessels. This little itty bitty micro camera going around checking things out.
Oh, what
Chuck,
show was that? That was the Fantastic Voyage.
That was one, and then what was the one with oh snap! There was one in the 80s
Raquel Welch
too.
Was in that one.
Yeah, she's fabulous. She was fabulous.
Chuck, I see you bought the FPV drone.
Yeah, I never had an FPV drone, so I still don't really have an FPV drone, but I have something that's sort of kind of like an FPV drone with training wheels.
Yeah. So, did you get the care refresh? Probably. Sound like everybody is. No.
No, I did not. It's registered with State Farm though, so I'll get a 1 free spin if I do wreck it. They'll buy me another one and then they'll cut me off. But I've, knock on wood. No, I didn't do it. I mean, when I flew it today for the first time, it's the thing I was really scared about flying with the goggles on, because you're looking through the goggles and there's no visual line of sight. And I have my wife tell me, "Oh, watch out for those light poles," kind of thing. But
yeah, what light poles?
Flying around is okay. It's when what's weird is when you go to land, because now you have a great view forward, but you can tip the gimbal down a little bit, but not like a Mavic where you can point straight down.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how the hell do I land with the goggles on? Because I can't really see if I'm clear or not. That's the sketchy part.
I mean, I'm just curious. Everybody that crashes these, we've got to send them in. Lord knows who's you'll get back.
I know, I worry about that too. That's why I was flying like a little, I was very careful. I'll just say that, very careful today. But it's just in normal mode, the thing hauls butt compared to a Phantom or a Mavic. Holy freaking! I launched it, I was like, oh my god! I have some pretty fun footage. I was rolling film when I was flying the drone and filming with it. Oh, and you can record sound with it, which I haven't played it back to see what the sound is like, but it records audio, which is kind of cool.
You can tell we're over 40 years old because we're still saying film.
And records,
yeah, or tape.
Yeah. I don't say tape it anymore now, but I do say film because that's kind of the term. Even though I know it's not film, I still say film. Since I guess, like, technically, when we're creators, we are filmmakers. And I did have a lot of fun kind of reenacting when the drone showed up on my porch. That was really fun to do. And I'm sure my neighbors must have been laughing their butts off because I had to reenact, have the boxes are on the porch, and I had to bring them into the house and then bring them back out and set up the camera outside and do everything like a few times and to get the whole story put together and all that kind of stuff. It was fun.
Gramophone, yeah.
The gramophone, yeah, Edison.
Kira show once in a little while my head is floating. I'm wearing a green shirt that that I bought from Iguana Solutions, and it says, "Got you, Iguana."
I like that green shirt. We talked before, a couple hours ago? Yeah. Yep. Oh, that long ago. It was that long ago, yeah. And I was like, Art, are you sure that shirt's going to be okay with the green screen? Because it's pretty green. I know when I wear my Covaxion shirt that's green, the Covaxion shirt just makes me like you. It's completely like the Invisible Man. Blank Man.
Now, I bet you our friend James is probably having his either waffles or
pancakes.
And so now we know the 3 words we can't say. Because
how long?
Now we really mess up his household.
Oh, yeah. The A word.
The A word, the C word, and the what is it? The E word.
The E word? Can you spell it?
Echo.
You could ECHO would have been safe. And I don't think ALEXIA is, or no. How do you spell that?
There's no
ALEXA. Yeah.
Chuck, how many drones do you have registered with State Farm?
3 of the 4.
Okay.
But you know what? The price didn't. I called up Friday to register the FPV, and I asked my agent. I said, "Okay, I'm adding another one," and I sent over like the bill of sale and the serial number and everything. And she says, "Yep, I'll check into it." She says, "Yep, same rate, $60 a year." So I don't know.
Really?
I think it's because you're only flying one at a time. They're assuming that you're only flying one at a time, or I don't know what the threshold is before the premium would go up. But
no, what does that include? Like if you crashed it, but what about like a flyaway?
Well, you'll get You'll get reimbursed on, ironically, like everything. I don't know. I haven't filed a claim yet, but I know that everything is covered because you'd still be covered if, say, it was in your vehicle and it was stolen out of your vehicle and you lost your whole backpack with all your gear. You'd be reimbursed for that. You know what I mean? Like anything that was, if it was fly more, you'd get the drone, the remote, the 3 batteries, and all the goodies again. But it's, from what I've heard, it's one and done, Ron. You only get one free spin and then you're done. But
well, Bill wants to know if you plugged your live stream.
Did I plug my live stream? I did not. Oh, like Keith and I are supposed to. Thank you. Yeah, Bill's a good man. He's got our backs all the time. That guy is pretty cool. But no, we're gonna do a quickie live stream. Keith and I are gonna do one. I tried doing an unboxing of for the Freewell filters the other night, and stupid me set it up all wrong, and we had like 15 minutes of no video when I was unboxing. It was like, where are you guys? And then we finally come on, and it's like, yeah, it's all ripped open, like the box is like this, it's all done. The excitement was over. But yeah, 2K Drones is going to be on 9:30 Eastern tonight. We're going to actually talk about our first few times of flying. That should be. And we're both Mavic guys, so we're coming from. We are the demographic as far as I'm concerned. We're the guys that DJI is fishing for. Speaking of fishing, they want our money, and they got it. And personally, I'm pleased. I like it. It's just what I wanted. So far, it's what I want. What I expected it would do. It does, except the firmware is a little. It's rough. The firmware needs work. You can't adjust.
Yeah, they'll get all the bugs out of it.
Well, you still, I mean, like I bought these filters and I figured I'd be able to adjust like the shutter speed and stuff so I get the motion blur and things like that. And so far, I've been digging through the settings and I can't find them. And everything's in the goggles. The goggles are like command com. Everything, Fly app and everything is built into the goggles when you finally get it all set up. So, you don't even use your phone. You use the goggles, and then the goggles have this is goofy. I think the guys that have flown the digital system with DJI before, the battery is tethered from the goggles and it's loose, and they don't give you a place to put the battery. So it's like you have this battery that's like you put in your pocket, or it's like, what the heck, DJI, man? What? It's stupid. Like, give me a place to put the damn battery. Like, I don't care if it was a clip on the side of the goggles, like if something.
So the battery hangs outside of the goggles?
It does not go in the goggles, which, I mean, yeah, it would make the goggles less streamlined looking. You look like a bug when you're wearing them. They're kind of funky looking, but they work really great. And I'm an older guy, so I was worried about near vision problems like I had with remember the cereal box version of the goggles, the white ones?
Yeah.
Those I needed correction, like magnification for. These I don't. I just and I do have that issue, and there's no problem whatsoever. So I thought that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot with the 360 camera, which I'm going to be taking to Florida.
Cool.
Nice.
I just uploaded a video today. I'm waiting for it to render into 4K before I release it. I was just funny about that. I'll put a video up, but until it's at its full resolution. Sometimes with YouTube, it takes an hour, 2 hours a day. You don't know. Mm-hmm. But I refuse to release it. It's in private mode. But
that's what I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because it stinks to upload and it's all pixelated. It's like VHS quality. See, there's another reference, Art.
Yeah.
VHS quality, 320
VHS
lines.
And
Beta was better.
Yes, that's right. My first recorder was a Betamax.
Betamax was better than VHS, but it didn't have the recording time. I think we talked about this before, how Beta didn't have. They couldn't fit a full 2 hours of recording for a full length movie. That's where VHS kind of won the battle. That's how.
Yep.
And then by the time they figured it out, it was too late. The war was won by JVC, and Beta was defeated.
I used it to edit my comedy videos, where I would videotape my set, and then I would put it on beta, and then I had an editing software where I could I could do the different adjusting, the volume setting or whatever, and got a halfway decent video that I could send out to club owners and booking managers. Send them out there with my promo pack. And nowadays, these guys, what do? They send a DVD or maybe one of these flash card?
I'm thinking either a USB stick with like the MP4 on it, or they upload it somewhere like privately on YouTube or unlisted or something, or some manner like that where it's digital somewhere and they share that. Right. That's my guess. Because media, like we know it, spinning media and all that stuff it's a thing of the past, really. It's I think people are shocked that like my big computer has a Blu-ray spinner in it, and they're like, why? I don't know, because I had it and I bolted it in and there was room. That's why.
I had a computer with tape backup.
Wow, I remember those. Was it a zip drive or was it something else?
Well, this was before the zip drive, where you actually had a little cartridge. You just plugged it in, and then you would archive all your files onto it. That way, if your system crashed, you get recover it.
I remember those. Yeah. Yep, that was pretty cool. Now I just every now and again I'll make an image of my system when I'm feeling like I'm just before I go to bed. I'll just let it run and do an image. Well, nice, Sean. Yeah, that was scary at first. That's too high res.
All right, let's welcome all the way from Lipa City, Philippines. It's James. Welcome. Magandang Maga.
Magandang umaga, magandang gabi in your neck of the woods. How's everybody?
Do.
Hey, is my audio okay?
You're good. You're good. You get it.
Is it good?
Oh, look, you got a big sexy mic. Look at you.
I am.
Man, you.
Yeah, I had to move my game up. If I'm playing with the big boys, I got to move the game up.
I'm just trying to pretend to be the big boy. I'm the little guy in the. Yeah. Hey,
well, anyway,
sorry, Art. Keith was asking me. Did you send him the linky or?
Oh, okay. Let me.
You want me to
do that?
Then we're spanning the globe. You'll have Thailand. You'll have Philippines. You'll have the left coast, the right coast. All that stuff. Art, you're freaking me out though with the green shirt. That's kind of freaky, man.
Yeah, I noticed that too this morning when I came on. Like, what the heck is going on here?
It's a little freaky.
I could do this.
Don't pay attention to the man, the floating head.
Thank you, the Wizard of Oz. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Silence!
It's pretty awesome, man. I like that. That's really
so
good.
You're down in your basement, James, looking good.
I am, and the reason I'm down here in the basement is because the next episode that uploads has to do with. I told you I want to do the product review on the Samsung microphone, and in behind you notice the lighting's a little bit different. I've got the Elgato Keylight Air lights going on right now. You're actually in the middle right now. You're in the middle of my production. I'm doing the episode with your permission, if you don't mind. Today's episode, if I can download it and just pull a small section, because I don't know what the audio quality sounds like, and that's part of the test of today's episode. But you can see, maybe you can't see. You see over my shoulder there, the boxes and there, all that stuff over there.
Yep.
That's part of the episode I'm working on right now as we speak.
Right now, as we speak?
As we speak.
How rude.
As I said, I mean, you guys are. I'm not going to pay you though, because you're going to be in my video. But I'm not going to pay you. I'll let you know right off head. But I need everybody to kind of agree that they don't mind me using this video.
Hey, let's welcome our next panelist, all the way from Thailand, Mr. Keithy.
There goes the neighborhood.
Hello.
Hey, Keith. Good to see
you.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Keith?
Hey. Sorry, it's a bit early in the morning. Sorry if I've got bags under my eyes.
Just need more coffee. That'll fix it.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Hi, Ron. Hi, James.
Keith.
Hello,
Good morning.
I flew it.
Oh, I saw that.
How'd it go?
It's awesome, man. Oh my God. And I only put it in normal mode, like I was telling everybody on here. I haven't even unleashed the monster yet. It's like, yeah, I got it. But it started snowing it was like Charlie Brown Christmas snowflakes coming down. I couldn't even see across like the schoolyard, and I had to bring it back. It was crazy.
There is some issues with it, but when you're able to fly with it and not have the issues, it's epic fun.
It's epic fun. It's exactly what I wanted. I tried flying. We took over. I'm sorry. We took over. When you try flying the Mavic 2 in FPV mode, it's a complete and utter failure. And then you fly this thing, and it's like, this is what I was expecting when I flew the Mavic 2 like last weekend when James challenged me to do so. James, that was you, brother. It's you. So, yeah, that was you.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird doing this because it's like the here because of the way the camera orientation is.
Yeah,
you're actually in looking at the screen. You're over here, but Ron's actually over here. But I have to do the opposite way.
I know, because it's the mirror image thing, and our bodies are
John Travolta, a little John Travolta move right here.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know you guys had basements in the Philippines. I didn't know you could even do that.
Well, they don't. They don't. I'm trying to start a trend over here. As a matter of fact, you probably don't notice it because you were on air. You were on air during the publishing of the last video. The last video went live or on publishing at 8:15 our time, which was, I don't know what time it is. Oh, about 30 minutes ago. And the video that I just posted, as I do from time to time, it's a video on properties here inside the subdivision because we're trying to build an international community inside here. So I published a video that shows 3 properties. And the properties that I'm showing, the person who asked me to do the drone viewing, as a matter of fact, that would probably be a good thing for you to actually show just a few seconds of the clip on there if you go to the latest video, if you wanted to do sharing. But the people who are wanting to come over here, and purchase properties in the subdivision here, they want to build basements. That's specifically what they want to do because they saw the success of our basement build here. So I will tell you right now, as a result of the video, because what I do, I will tell you how I do this. I have people that ask, can you do a drone overview and tell me your personal evaluation of a piece of property? And I'm like, oh, of course, because they're my subscribers. I'm like, sure, anything I can do to help you out. So I did this video that you're looking at. I think I did it last Wednesday or Thursday. And what I do is I tell them, well, since I'm doing this and I'm making an effort to do this, what I'm going to do after you decide whether you want it or don't want it, I'm going to edit that video and post it up on the channel because a lot of people like to see what the lots are right here.
Right.
And so I will tell you the moment that they reviewed that video, they actually bought a lot here immediately. They contacted the agent and they purchased a property here. And the property, believe it or not, it's none of the 3 properties that they showed on there, but it was one that I took some still photos and I communicated with the person. He's actually Canadian, and I showed him the property, and he said, "I'm looking for something that I can do exactly what you did. I want to build a basement." And I said, well, the basement's here. I said, you just have to be real selective and you have to get a high elevation property. Right. And he bought the property right across the street from us over here. right next to the other Canadian, Gerard and yeah. That's, as a matter of fact, I got a text message from Gerard at Gerard and V. They purchased the lot next door, and they're getting ready to build any moment now. And I told him, I said, you know what? I said, I know you're trying to get out of Canada, but Canada's following you right here because your neighbor is from the same neck of the woods, the same part of the area where he's coming from. So
that's kind of nice. They can kind of settle in together, and they can.
Well, I will give you a little bit of information. The gentleman who is purchasing the property right across the street, directly across the street from us. Although he's Canadian, he's originally from the Philippines. He left the Philippines when he was 17 years old, and he immigrated to Canada. But he's like, I'm tired of this cold weather, and I want to come back home. So he's coming back home, and he'll be moving over here. So, and I said to when I spoke to Gerard, I said, you know what? Because Gerard is married to a Filipina also. I said, you know, the two of the nicest people in the world, nicest cultures and are Canadians and Filipinos. I said, you know what, we're going to welcome this man to our neighborhood with open arms. He's going to be a great asset to the community.
James, it's that time. It's time to give away some almond toffee.
Art, I'm gonna take off.
All right, Ron. Good to see you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you down in Florida.
Yeah, we'll see you in less than a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, that's pretty soon, isn't it? Yeah.
You guys share lots of video, man. I'm gonna live vicariously through you and Art and the rest of the guys down there, Dobo and Dono.
There'll be some goodies. So
yeah.
All right, take care, everybody.
Take care.
Right. Cheers.
So everybody, this is how the game is played. Pick a number between 1 and 50, and once we get enough numbers, I will spin the big prize wheel. So let me
I started with
share
26.
the screen.
Didn't Ten Toes win last time? Or am I wrong?
No, he didn't. That
Who was it?
Oh, it was Michael that won.
Somebody beat me to 42.
But here's the caveat: you gotta be someone in the States, because I can't send these out of the country. They're pretty expensive. But
if Keith wins, you can
James,
send it to me.
You have a home here in the States, so whenever you're back in the States, I could send it to you. So we've got some numbers coming in. Chuck's got 24, 46.
Hey, Keith, I think we got a little bit of prejudice going on.
Yes, yeah.
No, it's fine. Actually, if Keith wins, just Art's going to send the stuff to me, and maybe one or two pieces will make their way over across the pond to you. Maybe. The monkeys ate them. I couldn't help it. They made it there, and the monkeys ate them. The same monkeys that got your remote control for your Mavic 2. Your car. If only you had video of that. That's the most crazy story ever.
Oh, that would be funny. All right.
I know. I was more concerned with getting the thing off it.
Oh, are we supposed to put our numbers in there?
Yes.
Yes.
You know the drill.
Wait a minute, I can't do it. You said I'm eliminated.
You can
disqualified.
Then you can just. He said he'll send it to you in the States and your other place.
I can do that. Okay. You only get one number.
Oh crap! Wait a minute.
All right, let's go ahead.
Private. I can do the private chat.
Wheel. Oh, righty.
I don't know if that works.
Spin the wheel. Sweet 16.
The number is 14.
Oh, it's 14. I see 16 again.
Who was the closest to
14?
Oh,
who got it? I was. Bob Casey Ariel.
Yeah.
I'm going back. I think it is Bob. Yeah,
Bob's the first. Yep. Bob Casey Ariel.
Bob
Baran.
Yes, Bob is the big winner. Congratulations, Bob. You win again.
You're not gonna sing Bob Moran now? I can't do the falsetto stuff anymore unless somebody kicks me in the. Very impressive, Art. Good stuff, man. You got it. Still got it. I lost that. I used to be able to hit that Earth, Wind, and Fire high stuff. The Philip. That's cheating.
Okay.
That's cheating. But you hit it. You did it. Original equipment before. That was impressive. Your original pipes work just fine, man.
I believe I have Bob Casey's address, so I could just ship it out in the morning.
I don't know if I'm bold enough to get one of those weird voice effect thing and put that on my channel. That's Art can get away with it. I don't know that I could get away with something like that though.
Keith has some cool stuff.
And Ken Heron too. He likes to play around with sound effects.
Stop the music. It's time for news.
Well, we
Ken Heron do The Lion Sleeps at Night.
Boeembo up, boeembo up, boeembo up, boeembo up. Well, we could do that. We could do that'd be.
Well, speaking of that, we
No, I'm not going to.
I'm not. No. We're off track in a different area. But last week, February was Nessa's birthday, and we did a birthday celebration here.
Right.
But a lot of the family weren't able to come for her. Well, the first birthday celebration, I took her down to that German restaurant down in Batangas City. But for the family to gather, they weren't able to gather here for another. Chuck, you're killing me.
I can't stop. I'm sorry. I know it's can't stop.
2 or 3 weeks later, her family came over, so we celebrated her birthday. And when you were doing that thing, it reminded me. We got down here in the basement because I just received a mixer that does a little bit of it has some digital effects on it, for like the echo or the delay, the karaoke kind of sound in the background. Because my Mackie doesn't do that. So
echo.
Yeah. So we sat down here, and my wife, she puts the karaoke stuff on the big screen in the tiki bar up here, and then I hooked up 4 microphones. I had 4 microphones hooked up to the Yamaha with the effect inside there, and then we started playing some stuff, and we ended up doing one of those a cappella kind of things. And I don't know if it was Under the Boardwalk or something like that. Something that really worked out really. Yeah. Unfortunately, I would share that with you, but you would probably get a copyright strike or something like that. So,
I don't think so.
Have to hear.
Does it really? Because if you sing it on your own.
Yeah, it does.
Really?
No, it does. Yeah, and it's not so much.
Come on now.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm really careful anymore. I'm really careful. I had some music playing inside the background while I was walking around here because we got the yard, the rock speakers. And
yeah.
We have the sound,
that I could see.
Yeah, and I would be walking around, and then just a few seconds of something, and then I get a copyright strike. But what they're doing now, YouTube has really done a good job. I will give them credit. They're trying to put a level playing field between the publishers, the artists, and the content creators on YouTube. Now they tell you pretty much it's not a strike. It'll say this is not a strike, but if the publisher or the artist, the owner of the thing, would like to be able to use ads on your channel. So you share. It's revenue sharing is what it is. So that's pretty much what they're doing.
That's a better way to do it. They need to sort something out because
it's
unfairly biased at the moment.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, it's a win-win for both you and the owner of the intellectual property. If it wasn't shown on or heard on your channel, you're losing revenue, or they're not gaining as much revenue as they possibly could. So it works good.
Like free advertising for the artist and the record company and so on.
The first live stream you and I did, Chuck, we got a copyright on DJI's because we did a live stream on the DJI Mini 2 launch event, and I got a copyright on the music in the trailer for the DJI Mini 2
because it's their music. So I mean, like I mean, I thought like, okay, if there's music in the background and it's playing and it's like regular real music, like at a bar or something, then I guess I could see where you get caught on that. And that's what James is saying, that they've softened the rules too. But if you're just singing a song, that counts too. I didn't know that.
If you're singing in the song, yeah, that counts. Now there's other things that you can do, and it's written
again. Actually,
yeah, it's written down. If you do some Google searches on Google about Google, because YouTube's owned by Google, if you go into that and you look, you'll find out that there are certain ways that you can do things. Like you see all these people that are doing these like lessons. Learn how to play this, learn the chords of this, learn the lead solo portion of Hotel California or something like that. Now, if you're doing it as a tutorial, teaching as a tutorial, then I believe you get all the monetization off of that when you do those. You break it down. There's a fine line between teaching something and actually stealing intellectual property. I won't say stealing, but doing something that somebody is getting a royalty
using it without permission, which is I wanted to use a piece of music in a video from one of my wife's and my travels. And I reached out to, I think it was BMI at the time, and it was what was it? Capital Letters. It's in 50 Shades of Grey. It's like a song my wife really digs. And we were out in the West Coast, so it seemed appropriate, and it fit the video and everything. So I reached out to him and found out that, oh my God, it's expensive, like to buy the rights to use the song. And even if you have your channel is like, my channel is really small, it was still a few $100s to get the rights to use the song. I was like, no, forget it.
And they will never give away. Yeah, they will never give away, because what it does is it sets precedence. If they do that to you, then they have to do that. So you can kind of understand it from a business point of view.
I do understand. I understand it. Yeah, I understand it, but it does kind of suck. So
I got to tell you, go ahead.
I was gonna say Keith and I, our 7th episode of our 2K drone show was 007, and we had a lot of fun with that. We gave it a whole Bond spin, and Keith, the man that he is, he dug through Epidemic Sound and he found like a track that was perfect James Bond. I mean, and totally legit. Keith, I don't know how you found it.
I think it was probably the most Bond-like non-Bond song I've ever heard. It was just a jackpot. It was about 4 hours of going through Epidemic, and then they just suddenly appeared, and I was just like, but it was like finding gold, because after 4 hours of listening to every tune, you're just kind of like, no.
I think you went through all of Epidemic Sound. That was the last possible song to find. But so anyway, but there's stuff out there on like Epidemic Sound and other places that you can get, and it'll get the job done. But it would be so much easier to use copyrighted tunes but I get it. I mean, they need to get, the artist and the record company need to get their fair share, and I understand.
Well, let me tell you, there's different types of music out there, and you got to be really careful. Even though it says, you'll see stuff that says copyright free or something public domain and stuff like that. You have to be really, really careful about what you do and actually look at remember, everybody says, oh, look at the fine print, and you can't. But you really have to look at the fine print. And I'll just give you a little example. At the very beginning of My PI Dream, probably the first 100 episodes, there was a guy that was on YouTube, and he published, I'm not going to mention his name, or now I'm not even going to mention the publishing company, but about the first 100 videos that I did, because he did he knew how to do synthesizers, and especially anything that had to do with drone footage. He had some great audio that complemented my drone footage so well. And he said on his YouTube page, it said, you can use this commercially or whether you monetize or not. He had all the disclaimer on there, because I think what he was doing, he was growing his business, because he knew one day he was going to get picked up by a publisher and he was going to make the big bucks. So he's giving the stuff away. It's the bait at the very beginning, and he was giving it away. It was good music. Yeah. And so I used a lot of his music. And then 2 years later, I start getting these, 10 at a time. I'm getting from a publishing company. They're because they go through, they go through YouTube. Then YouTube sends me, you have a copyright claim against your. Then what's not, again, to the good way YouTube does this is you have an option to go inside there, and you can say, this is my information. They're wrong or they're right, but I have the rights to use this material. There's many things. There are many options that you can choose inside there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what I did, it was a pain, and I actually wrote the artist. I sat down and took the time, and I emailed him, and we had some dialogue going back and forth, and he explained to me that as of such and such a date, what I did, I joined up with a publishing company, and they have all the rights to my music now. Okay. So, but the thing was at that specific date, and he was a really nice guy. And I will tell you, very nice guy, guy over in Europe. And he said, it just let me know the songs and the links to your videos that got flagged and that are being, they'll block it. Yeah. And he said, and we'll turn that back into YouTube, and we'll unblock those. And I did, and he did. Nice. But the problem was the way their algorithm works, finding this stuff. I was like 10, then the next day, another 10, then the next day, another 10.
Yeah, because it doesn't know. It just grabs it again and again and again.
And then maybe one day it'd be 1, the next day it'd be 2. So for two solid months, I dealt with this. And I kept saying, it's here again. These are the ones. I'm just sending these to you. And what I did was I copy and pasted what I sent to the artist. I sent it to YouTube as part of, because there's a comment section that you can explain what the problem is. And every single one, I will tell you, every single one of them, they allowed. But he said after the certain date, when he went with this publishing company, he said, if you want to use these, you have to pay me for any of these. And so I thought that was very
drone dude. Thank you for that.
That was reasonable.
It's a common thing with YouTube that it's not fair. I do another live stream with a couple of friends of mine, and we've been flagged on it for no reason at all. And we ended up having to go through on a whole week's process because some bot somewhere picked up on what it thought was copyright material and it wasn't. And people abuse this system, and publishers abuse this system as well.
And they do, and that's a point I wanted to talk about right now. And I want to make a recommendation to any wannabe YouTuber or the ones that are actually doing things right now or might be having a problem with this. There are a lot of companies that take advantage of you, and they take advantage of the fact that a lot of people just don't even respond and challenge, even though they know they're right. And they're hoping that the people that do that won't challenge it. And even though they're making false claims against what you have on your channel, they're going to go ahead and start getting the monetization from your channel. And I've had that on many, I will tell you, I don't get any more now. And I'll tell you how I fixed that problem. Whenever I publish a video and I use music, and most of my music comes from the YouTube library. YouTube has a very good library of music, I will tell you right now, and it's already blessed. It's already blessed by YouTube, so you can use these, and you'll never get a claim on those, or your own content. Sometimes I publish a lot of people don't even realize I create my own music with my guitars and instruments, and I'll put that on there, and they don't even know that that's my music. Anyway, those are the two safest things to do. But to make yourself even safer is what you do is at the bottom in your description block, write the name of the song, either the artist in the song or just the song, because if it's the name of the song, when you're challenged by somebody, a company that's not so honest, and they say this is this song, which is not that song, it's actually something else. It's very easy for you to go back and look at the name of it and then reference it when you have to challenge it back inside the YouTube courts inside there. And that's what I do on if you look at every one of my videos that has music, and it says music, title, and it's the name of it. Because what I found out before when they were challenging me, all these companies that were falsely claiming that I was using their music, I had to go through my entire library. I have to find every one of these songs.
What a pain.
To try to, and there's hundreds. I literally have hundreds in my own library that I really like, that I took the time. So I recommend you put that there. And that's two things. They'll look and see, oh, he took the time to write the name of the song, so I'm not even going to challenge this guy. Or if you do get challenged, it's very easy to respond to it. And I've been successful with that.
Yeah, I got lazy with that. I used to put the song and if it wasn't at the end of the credits of the video, it would be in the description of the video. It would say this is from Epidemic Sound and whoever the artist was in the song and everything. Because Keith,
I mean, the issue is though that YouTube don't have enough staff to manage or get involved in these situations, so they leave it up to the company that's put the copyright strike in. So, and those companies can then bully you. It's happened to a friend of ours, Henry, who is always on the thing. He had an issue with somebody with a video, and this person was allowed to effectively bully him, and that's wrong. I mean, YouTube should have somebody in place to say, okay, you know, that's impartial and looks at this and goes, okay, this guy's taken the video down. There is no longer a copyright issue. Sort it. But that
need a human intervention, and they don't have it. It's all automated.
There's no people on the YouTube side that it appears that looks like can mediate. So
this is not unusual for Google because a few years back I had my laptop stolen on vacation and it was stupid me unlocked and I had a hell of a time. I changed my password really quick on the fly with Google, and then I was like, it's something I could remember. That I couldn't remember it, and I had to go to Google and unlock my Google account, which is your life, and all I could get to were robots. I finally got to a human being in one form, a Google form. It took like a week to find this person.
Really? I was going to bring that up. I have never been able to get a contact or anything and be able to speak with somebody. Everything's automated.
I will dig through. Art's throwing his hands in the air. I'll dig through my emails. I have. There was a forum I found that actually had Google employees on it, and that's how I got. They're like, well, tell us. I gave them information. Because when I first got my first Android, I had set up an account, and I remembered what I had set up there, and it had a password. And the password, because I'm an idiot, the password was the same as the other one for the longest time. And when I shared that information with them, it was like, boop, it was unlocked, and the two accounts, you could tell they were me by the names of the handles and everything. But yeah, I'll share that with you, James. I have it.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's always good to have in the background because I haven't had that many times that things came up where I needed to do that. But when they do come up, it's usually something that's really important, such as what you're talking about, like that.
This guy was crushed.
Or something.
Our bags got stolen our very first day of vacation. We went out to actually Dono would understand, man, because we got to the airport. I'm like, my wife's like, we're gonna go to the hotel, and I'm like, let's stop at this brewery and grab like a bite to eat and some good craft beer and stuff. And she's like, are you sure? It's gonna be fine. It wasn't fine. So anyway.
Thank you, Bill. Metro Drones. Go check out this guy's channel. He's got a great channel. Check him out. And Arizona Drone Dude. They both have great channels. Thank you very much for your super chat. If you do a super sticker, I will sing super sticker.
Stickers. Oh, sorry.
Yep. Okay, I hope I'm hoping it's getting kind of warm down here. I hope I'm not going to turn anybody's device on, but I gotta turn on my fan. Alexa, turn on fan 2. So
I have headphones on.
You should see over my shoulder. There goes the fans.
Speaking of can I start it again? I just love the sound. Come on. I love it. One more time. Oh man, it's just, I'm sorry. Anyway, Ken was doing something earlier. He was doing Q&A on this thing, and I hadn't flown it yet, and all kinds of good stuff came up. So I wanted to thank Original Dobo for doing that because it was really awesome. You answered a bunch of questions. I didn't even have to ask them. You just answered them. That was pretty cool. But anyway,
here's my tip jar if you want to make if you don't want to go through all the Google, YouTube crap where they take a crap load out. You could do it right here in my PayPal account if you want to. If you like my content, there's a good place to throw a few bucks.
Hey, Art, I'm kind of feeling. Is my mic hot? Is it hot?
No, it's good.
No,
it's really good.
Okay. Because it's got a little thing on there, and you'll see in the next video that comes out. It's got a little light on there. If you overdrive it, it will flash red, and it just momentarily flashed red. So I just turned the fan on in the background. Is the fan making a noise?
No.
Then
okay. Again,
okay, good.
I can't hear it over the freaking cranking of my stupid i9 computer that like is 1200 watt power supply and all the other crap under the hood of that thing. It's pretty loud.
And he's got a server under his desk. He's got the equivalent of a server under his desk.
Okay, maybe I do, but
yeah.
but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And that's what I learned at Hollywood Studios, Universal Studios years ago, and I have followed that redundancy and all that stuff. That's how it happened, Keith.
Redundancy, man.
And it's very warm in here. I don't even need to. I could turn the furnace off. This thing is its own. That's my own personal office heater, studio heater. It's crazy. Not so much in the summertime.
Oh no! Did either of you? I know Art and Chuck. I don't know if Keith watches the channel at all, but I know you, Art and Chuck do. Did you see the Big Things Come in Small Packages episode I did? It was like 1 or 2 episodes back. Did you see how many of those foam tiles fit in? It was 48 in a little. That's the one we're going to be using. They're already deflated and they went back to the original form. I'm waiting. Yeah,
I had the same delivery. You possibly ordered them from the same place, being in the Philippines as
maybe.
well. I bet. Yeah,
maybe. So I ordered those. Well, I actually ordered 100 and whatever 48 times 3 is. I ordered. It's like 150 of. You see my math. My math teacher's gonna be really, really angry. Right? But anyway, I ordered 3 packages of the 48s, and that's what it's going to take to complete the project. That's the ceiling, to do all the ceiling and some more on the side walls inside there. So that should help a lot. It looks pretty cool. But I will tell you one thing about ordering from companies overseas, specifically China, because most everything we order comes from China.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes quality control as far as batches go, and I noticed that with this batch right here. Luckily, I did most of the wall behind the drums and behind the guitar amps. Those are pretty much all done. But I noticed this batch that came in here yesterday because I ordered from the same place using the same option. It's gray and purple. Okay, gray and purple. But I noticed that the purple on this batch is several shades lighter than all the ones that are already there. Now, it's not going to make that big of a difference. More of a pinkish purple. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be, as long as the rest of them that come in match this, I have 2 more orders, and they all came out at the same time. But I think when they create the foam, the batch that they make it, because I'm sure they put a dye inside there, I think they put less of the dye in on this batch than they did on the first batch that I ordered like 3 months ago.
Stickers, I like stickers, yes I do. Stickers, I like stickers more than you. Stickers.
Henry Robotic. That's our primo detective extraordinaire on 2K Drones, man. That guy uncovers everything under any rock, anywhere, anytime, any place. He's the man.
Well, Chuck, I want to tell you, I did listen. We were eating the waffles this morning. You know, I always like to come to Art's place here with something to share. And I actually I heard you talking earlier. Heard you talking earlier about moments of opportunity. For when you're taking videos, I heard you talking about your little train going.
Yeah, the missed ones are the ones. Yeah, the missed ones.
Well, the other day, 3 times, and I'm going to share it. And this is the missed opportunity. I'm going to show you the missed opportunity. But Hapon, you know, our black dog Hapon, he was sleeping in the living room. We were all sitting there watching TV. I was working on the computer or something. And then you know how sometimes dogs they'll fall asleep. And then they'll be running in sleep, or they'll be trying to attack another animal in their sleep, but they're sleeping. But here, I'm gonna share. I missed I missed it, and Art can share this, but I got 3 times I did that, and he was running like crazy. He was running like crazy before and after I took the video. But
oh no, I hate it when that happens. Yeah,
you gotta hit the play. Oh, I gotta hit the play. Hold on, let me hit the play. I gotta find the play button. Where is the play? Here it is. Sorry.
Oh, he's getting warmed up. He's getting warmed up.
And then somehow, because it's so quiet, somehow he heard the camera.
Look at the face. Oh man!
And it's like, leave me alone. I'm going back to sleep.
I'm out. He's out.
So that was that one. And I got something else I want to share with you. And it's
thank you, Ken.
Yeah, you're a good man, Ken.
Gobo, you gotta check this guy's channel out. He's really good.
He's really good.
He'll be
very original.
The meetup in 2 weeks. Cool. It'd be great to see you again, Ken.
That's another reason I'm bummed.
At Dylan a few months ago at the Spin Down, which was really cool.
I want to go so bad and I can't.
You should sing again, because if people are going to pay you not to sing, there's a.
Ooh, we could all sing together. We could do like a quartet. Bump, buddy da bump, buddy da bump, buddy.
The lollipop kids, and there goes another copyright strike.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you could ever, in this type of a format, if you could, like an acapella, I don't know if you could actually do that and sync up, because we're all in different times, and the delay between the source and the destination is it's really difficult.
I have the bass section. Gotta keep rolling his eyes. Okay, maybe people will pay you to have me stop doing that. I don't know.
I know. I just know what the next live stream is going to be like with you, because every 5 seconds you're going to be talking. You're just going
to those darn it all DJI. They found their way to my wallet. Those sneaky ones. I
wonder how long. I don't know if you've seen. There's some videos online where somebody's got a load of those old floppy disk drives and tuned them to play music. I wonder how long before he does it with this drone, where it's all tuned.
Oh, that's yeah.
So Chuck, I did hear you talking about the drone that you got right there, and I heard you say that you either love it or you hate it, and I heard you say, see, I do listen to you. I listen. I heard you say that if you liked the Mavic something or another, and I heard you say Phantom. If you like that, you're probably like this. And
the camera
of course,
drone, yeah.
I love my Phantom. The Phantom is a great. It's a great drone.
It is.
Has a lot of capability, and the quality is there. Yep. It's just big.
Which one? Big. So which one do you have, James? Do you have the 4?
I got
the Pro.
I have the 4 Pro Plus.
4 Pro Plus.
Yeah, that has the external controller. You don't use a phone, and I've been extremely happy with that.
Does that have a mechanical shutter? Or is that the Advanced that has the mechanical shutter?
I don't think recall.
So. Because when the Mavic Pro came out, I was looking at the Phantom first, and I was like, yeah, that thing's kind of big. Because I want to bring it on vacations with me and carry it on an aircraft and have it be in my backpack. And so anyway, that's when the Mavic Pro came out. It was like, oh, I don't have a mechanical shutter, but you know what? I'll live. But the Phantom is solid. So have you ever? Does the Phantom fly in FPV mode, James? Have you tried it?
Not mine. No, there's no FPV mode on the Phantom. It's old. Mine is 3.5. And it's been out for a while when I bought mine, so it's 3.5 years old.
So that's
since I purchased it. It's old school.
Nice, singing the blues. My drone is old. Da, 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 da. Oh, this drone's not old, but the pilot is.
It's
we're not going to go there.
The FPV. This is perfect. This is the perfect everybody said it from the beginning, and I know I did too. We were talking about how this was a hybrid and everything else, and the DJI drone the FPV drone is definitely its training wheels. Art, what are you doing over there? You're scaring me. Do it.
But I want to go to the OptiSync because I have the lights. I think Lightspeed is what. Yeah, Lightspeed. I want some of the newer technology. I can still do. Mine still does everything that I needed to do, but it's just.
It's not a camera drone like your Phantoms or your Mavics. It is you can get cinematic FPV off it, but it is cinematic FPV. If you want to replace your Phantom, I recommend the Mavic Air 2 because it's just that its price point for the quality of drone, the size, and the fact that you can carry that drone around everywhere.
Yep,
you can't beat it at the moment. There is no other
best
drone on the market in that price point.
And get it like Keith did. Get it with this thing.
Yeah.
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 Get the smart controller.
That would be what I'd go.
I'm an advocate. I'm sold already on a smart controller because the smart controller that came with the Phantom 4 Pro it's phenomenal. Even in bright sunlight, it's so easy to operate. But my equipment's starting to get old. I'm starting to notice like some heat issues with them, and it probably has something to do with the batteries that are inside once they start getting a little bit older.
You can open her up and maybe just because with the fans it's gonna ingest anything in the environment. Maybe it's just kind of because you're gonna have heat sinks and such in there. Blow them all out, James. Open her up and.
But unlike where you live, where it's stupidly cold,
it's
here
stupidly cold. Yeah.
It's never stupidly cold. And those drones don't last nearly as long here. They just don't because of the constant.
Well, nothing lasts.
Yeah,
nothing lasts.
And the humidity. You guys have brutal humidity too, both in Thailand and the Philippines. And Dono down in Hawaii. I mean Hawaii, Florida, which is like Hawaii. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Maybe too much wine. I don't know. Cut back. Anyway, yeah, it's harsh. I mean, like my everybody talks about the Mavic 2 batteries swelling and knock on wood. Freaking mine are from August 18, and they're as normal as can be.
Mine have all three of mine, and they're about half the battery life that they once were. But the Air 2, apparently they've improved the batteries.
Well, I've lost life. Yeah.
I get
on them, but they're.
I get 30 minutes plus out the Air 2 at the moment. It's just a different world with it. But you can get the whole thing, James, with the smart controller for around. Well, over here it cost me 44,000 baht, which is about $1,200.
I was gonna say 1,200 US is about where it falls. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's far below the Phantom price.
Yeah.
Actually, that's true. It's true, and it's easier to pack.
The quality on it is just, I mean, it's much better than my Mavic 2 Zoom. So much so that I'm now on the market to get the Pro camera just so that I can keep the Mavic 2 in having some use, basically, because at the moment the Air 2 just whoops it completely.
Yeah, there's a big debate, and I've been listening to. I listen on Greg Kunert's show, and I listen on this show here when people are debating going between the two type of cameras that you can get on the Mavic series. The one that does the cinematic, and the one that actually has a higher quality camera but doesn't have the zoom. Oh, the zoom. I think they call it
the Zoom and the Pro. The Zoom and the Pro.
The Zoom and the
1
Pro.
2/3 zoom.
Yeah,
2 times zoom optical.
I think a lot of people are overly impressed by the Zoom's capability to do that cinematic feature inside there. For me, that's not any reason why I would buy it. I don't do motion picture movie videos and that kind of stuff, but I do want detail. I want detail, and I want very clear pictures. So I don't really need that feature. So I think the Pro is probably something that's more on my line.
I've noticed that the Air 2 is much more, has much sharper clarity than the Zoom. I think the Pro, if you've got the computer to back it up, the Pro is worth the money. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, or you don't want to spend ages editing or coloring your stuff, the Pro the Mavic Air 2 will suffice. I mean, I can't say enough how shocked and how surprised I was of the quality of stuff that I'm getting out of this supposedly cheaper drone. But it's the technology in it is more up to date. So you're getting it does 4K 60, which even the Pro Mavic 2 doesn't.
The 2 Pro can't do it, and the Air 2 has a better processor, correct? I mean, it can. So the sensors might be very similar, but if you have the hardware behind the sensor, that's going to make a difference. At least that's what I think. But
it's small. It's small. You can shove it pretty much in your pocket.
It's actually smaller than the Mavic Pro. I have friends that have both, and they side by side. The Mavic Air 2 is smaller than the Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro, and the Mavic Pro is a sweet size. So I mean, they have it even smaller than that. And you think really they cannibalize their own market?
I think by bringing out a drone that is in many ways better than your top line of consumer drones, yeah, they did a bit, because the difference, you look at that smart control and you look at what you're getting out, the imagery that you're getting out of that drone, it's just like, how can you put, I mean, it's half the price, literally half the price of the Mavic 2 Pro.
The reason the Mavic 2 is very good, but the Phantom is still king, has to do with what I believe many they like the mechanical shutter. The mechanical shutter is, the purists will tell you must have a mechanical shutter.
Yeah, digital just doesn't do it on a lot of things, especially like the digital zoom features that you have inside there.
And digital zoom's another sore spot. But with the Mavic 2 Pro, you can crop in quite a bit. And, you've got a lot of freedom there. There's a lot going on with that 1-inch sensor that allows you to.
Well, my criteria for the next, because I'll be we're supposed to go back to the U.S. on a visit this summer, and I want to come back with a new toy, and my criteria is, number one, if I go in order, number one is the camera quality on the drone itself. Number two is distance that I can fly. I want to, and number three actually has to do with the distance, and has to do with the speed to get from point A to point B. So they kind of work with each other inside there. So, but mainly distance and video quality is what I'm looking for.
So you're gonna have a tough decision, because you're gonna have to, like, the FPV drone is a little. It's tricky to fly because you have to wear. Well, actually, I flew it without the goggles today. My wife, right before it started snowing like crazy, I was going to hand it over to her. She put the goggles on. I was flying it with the controller, and she was getting comfortable with the goggles. And then it started snowing like crazy. But you can just fly it like line of sight, just like any drone, and you're still getting that footage where it's like the banky kind of fixed wing kind of thing going.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gotten into the
long distance. Supposedly, you have 5 miles of range. Sorry, James.
So only in the US. Only in the US. It's Philippines and Thailand. It won't. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
Quarter.
Yeah.
How bad does it get cut down? I mean, realistically, like how
worse than they make out. I've had some transmissions issues with it already when it's not far at all and in line of sight.
So when I travel to Scotland finally, when I can finally get there, it's already been delayed 1 year. You're telling me when I fire up my Mavic 2s, they're going to be like choked? I should say like this, choked.
Yep.
Bummer.
Because they do it via GPS, and you can't.
Yeah.
Whereas with the whereas with the Wi-Fi drones, so the original Mavic Air and the Spark, you could
fool them. I had an application that you could pretend it was kind of like doing like a VPN. You could tell it was anywhere, and it's just like, oh, okay, I'm here, I'm fine. Oh, I'm good.
Because I had a multitude of issues with the original Mavic Air, so much so that I ended up returning it and getting the Mavic. But one of the things about the original Mavic Air was that DJI claimed that Thailand didn't support the 5 gigahertz band. And there was some to and fro between the Thai government and them. But anyway, that 5 gigahertz band killed the Mavic Air here, because you just, in the 2.4, if you were flying anywhere near anybody that had a Wi-Fi signal, it just would not work.
Art, what do you think? Art, what do you think of all this stuff, man? You've been pretty quiet over there.
Well, he's only a head. So what?
He's a talking head. He's like David Byrne.
Yeah. He reminds me of Holly from Red Dwarf.
How did I get this beautiful house?
Yeah, I missed that video.
That was the weirdest. Anyway, okay. Yes. Where is my beautiful wife? Where is that beautiful car?
Well, yeah, it's interesting to hear about what's going on in Asia, because I'm planning on taking a trip to the Philippines, hopefully sometime this year, because that'd be good to know. It's not like I'm going to be doing some long flights anyway, but be kind of cool to get it up there and kind of look around the area, and then, whoever I'm staying with, they could see, oh, that's what our house looks like from there.
Well, as long as you're not near an airport, because it's like when I told you when I went to Palawan earlier in 2020, right as the pandemic was actually starting. I wasn't able to even take off of the ground because inside the database it identified that we were within 5 miles of a very small. It was a very small airport.
But it's on the map. Yeah,
but it was on the map, and
run into that with
so
DJI.
I'll tell you what I've done lately. On the DJI, when it first pops up and you're initializing your connection between your quad and your controller, it says there's a new database. There's an update. Do you want to do the update? I haven't updated that. I haven't updated that probably in a year and a half. Yep. I quit doing the updates.
Thank you. No, it's okay.
But you know what? DJI, what they did at the very beginning, because when I first got my Phantom 4 Pro, when it first came in, there was a thing that said, there's an update. Do you want to do the update? And I said, no. It said, well, if you don't do the update as of a certain date, you won't even be able to fly. You can't get over 50 feet or something.
Yes, I know.
Like that.
And remember they had the questionnaire. Do you remember a few years back they had the questionnaire? You had to answer the basic
all the way from Australia, from the land down under. It is
Matt.
Greg Kunert.
Oh, it's Greg.
Welcome, Greg.
What's up, Greg?
Good to see you.
Good day, hey.
It's early in the morning, so apologies for the scruffy hair and the messy room, and I haven't got my lighting set up, but I don't care. Thanks. Well, at least I've got a body.
Keith will sympathize with you. Nice. Keith will sympathize with you because it's 8:47 in the AM in Thailand, so he'll sympathize.
Yeah. Well, it's 12:47, but I had a late one, so yeah.
I'm right in the middle. Then I'm right in the middle. It's 9:47 AM
nice.
Here. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Art, when you go over to the Philippines, James, does he need to register? Because I just re-registered for the UK because when I'm supposed to go to Scotland this year, but it only lasts year. You have two parts to the CAA, and one is a pilot license, and the other one's like a registration or whatever. And you have to do the one is 3 years, but I think it's the pilot that's once a year, and you renew it. £9 British pounds or whatever.
Can I share something with you, Chuck?
What's that?
I've got an interesting answer. I was on my show yesterday. We were talking about an air crash investigation where some Australians took an aircraft to the UK and they flew it in an air show. It was an unmanned aerial vehicle, but a very, very big one, 90-something kilos.
Wow!
And they crashed it. But here's the interesting fact: in the air crash investigation report from CAA, they said, well, he didn't have a license here in the UK. And that's okay because he had an Australian license, and there's an international treaty between many, many countries. If you are bringing a foreign registered aircraft and you have a license in the country of registration, you can fly it in another country without getting a local license.
This is like reciprocity kind of in the States for if you get a speeding ticket in Massachusetts and you live in New York, they can still get you. So this is kind of like the same idea. You're saying that since I'm part 107 in the USA, I can fly in the UK. I hadn't looked into that deep. I was just like, it's no big deal. I took the test.
You legally can, but I would still get something in writing for them to acknowledge it, kind of thing, like to validate it, put a rubber stamp on it.
the test was so easy. It was only 9 British pounds. I think it was like $12 US or something.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of cool because I have the markings on both sides of the drone. It's like the I have the USA stuff on one side and I have the cool, like the British stuff on the other side. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So yes, you can. Having said that, don't crash when you get there.
There is no, well, Keith knows I have my second Mavic 2 with me, but I don't know if I'll bring it now. I might bring the FPV and the Mavic this time instead. So we're going to be in the Highlands. I mean, it's going to be hard not to want to fly FPV around the Highlands. That'll be
I guess I'm the minority. I'm the minority here because I still haven't done the FPV thing. I'm still old school.
Scary. You know, it's scary because we were talking about it earlier before you jumped on, James. Well, at least I was saying how the goggles and like Ken Dono and all those guys, they're so used to it. They're pros when it comes to, they're true purists. But I get intimidated. I'm looking through the goggles and that's all I see. So you can't see behind you. You can't look up. You can't see, oh, where's the drone or whatever without flipping the goggles up. So when you go to land and stuff, it's like, where do I just bring it down? I mean, I don't know if I'm over a lamppost. I can't pivot the camera all the way down, and that's kind of freaky.
And I think that's my concerns too, right? I'm happy with what I'm doing now, but even what I'm doing now, when the drone is out of sight, like remember I told you I hit those high tension power lines because those tension lines were behind me, and I'm looking as if even using my controller, it's like FPV.
That's very like FPV. That's the same kind of situation where why you're not supposed to be beyond visual line of sight in the States. For that
and
reason.
I really like some of my maneuvers that I do on my quad are the maneuvers where I back up because it's a very nice visual effect when you're doing a curve and you're backing. You do a pullback. And you get some really nice pictures of down below. It's a good effect. It feels,
spin around and take a look-see first, and then.
And normally I don't do that in an area that I know. What I do is I do a survey before I do anything like that. I usually do a survey, and I usually look at the tree level, and I try to fly maybe 20 meters above
the tree line,
the top of the tree, so I know what I'm doing when I'm backing up. But that day, because the high tension lines in the air when you're flying and you're looking on a little controller that's only this big, I didn't see those lines inside.
No, they're hard. Did you see Billy Kyle? He darn near freaking clipped his FPV drone flying over the river. He like whoop, he stopped really fast. Same thing. They sneak up on you. They're tricky. I have a hard time seeing that stuff. I know we all do.
You just got to make sure you got your visual observer, and those are available now for sale on the Osby Drone channel. Get your visual observer.
I used my wife. Unlike this thing, my wife complained about the cold today because it was like snowy and cold, and she was kind of mad at me as she was bundled up in her parka. She's a good sport.
So right now I'm a little intimidated. I'm a little intimidated by the FPV approach because right now, just without an FPV, knowing about that backup maneuver and stuff like that, and then not having it's almost like having being confused and only having like the horses have the
blinders.
The side blinders.
Can I jump in, James, with a few things that may or may not help you? First of all, you were talking about the range in the Philippines. There is a mod that you can do. I don't know the details myself, but someone's already told me that apparently you put a file on some SD card and it gives you the longer range. So that's available. Do a bit of Googling to go and find out about that. With regard to FPV flying and thinking in general, just if you're going to get the FPV aircraft, the DJI aircraft, John Morrison, my co-host, he said, look, I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm going to do 25 flights in the first mode and then 25 flights in the next mode and slowly build up to eventually where he'll go and fly it in full manual mode. He's a commercial general aviation pilot. So he's got that kind of safety mindset of being able to go from beginning to end and not be able to do silly things, and that's just the way he does it.
Welcome all the way from Tampa, Florida. Original Dobo, Ken. Welcome.
Dude, I got to go get a beer.
Oh my goodness, this is the first time I've been on the same screen as you, I think.
I got to get a beer right now. Yeah. I got to dump this wine down the drain and get a damn beer
before, man.
Have we?
Yeah, I think so. Once or twice.
I can't remember. Couldn't
Maybe
remember.
or either that. It's I'm always watching you yell at scammers on the phone.
I do have fun with that. There's so many calls that I haven't put up on the channel, but anyway,
it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. Art, what's going on with your the whole? Where are you? What is this?
Oh, this is the Westminster Castle. This is about a mile and a half away from my house, and I'm wearing a green T-shirt that I got from another YouTuber, Iguana Solutions.
It's this Halloween costume for 2021. Yeah. He's testing it out. He's going to be the castle.
It says, "Got you, Iguana."
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I can't see you.
Yeah, I tell you what. I heard some people were saying Art's a dangerous kind of man, but I heard he was armless.
Oh, yeah, that's a rough one.
I got my jazz hands.
That's pretty crazy.
Ken, that Q&A was awesome. You probably heard me say that earlier, but that was really that was good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the way you crowd. Sorry.
It's easier to just like sort of lump it all in a Q&A than it is to sit there and make like individual videos, because it just takes time and you'll never answer everybody's questions. And this is one of those product releases you're damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. So I figured it was just easier just to do it like that.
We were saying it was love-hate. The turtle mode, though, I remember I asked you about turtle mode. You answered it, and then like 10 minutes later, you're answering it again. You're a good sport about that. That was cool.
I tested it out. It works. It works pretty good. I had to replace the props afterwards, though, but it worked.
$15 a pair. I mean, I guess. Well, but if it works, get you out of a sticky spot. That's better than losing a drone.
This. $15 can get you out of a tree,
right?
So that's a good thing. But I mean, you got to make sure you catch it when it's coming down.
It's heavy too. This freaking thing is heavy.
This is one of those drones you won't like my quads. I'll let them hit the ground. Like if I'm not like in a concrete area, I'm like, all right, it's fine. Let it hit the ground, no problem. I'm out of the tree. This I'll be like, oh god, I got to catch it type of thing.
It's gonna break into a million pieces.
Yeah, I mean, you probably maybe you're not, maybe you won't, maybe you will. I mean, I crashed it earlier today. It was really a low altitude crash, and I just got like a little scuff on the front. But I mean, it seems fine. But it was a really low crash. My biggest fear is breaking those little feet in the front. Those feet are your antennas.
Those are replaceable. Those are actually replaceable. You probably saw this, Ken. You can unscrew them, and then the contacts are built up in the rest of the fuselage. So it looks like
they are replaceable once DJI have the parts, which they don't seem to have.
Yeah, but they're on. They will have them. They're on the site. It's like DJI always forever to get their stuff out.
That's the biggest thing too, is we can't get parts for them, because I told we're anticipating some people that haven't bought Care Refresh, and we're thinking, okay, well, this could be a good opportunity, for a business that, all right, you're gonna have people are inevitably gonna break it. It's not a matter of if, it's just when. So I figured, well, we'll order a bunch of parts. We'll do a quick turnaround time on repairs. We can't get anything for it yet, so it's pretty crappy that nothing's available.
Wow.
Yeah, the drone.
And bearing in mind this, it's not like the Osmo Pocket when that came out and it took 6 months to get any of those accessories. This drone was meant to come out in January, and they still don't have parts for it in March. It's not good.
It's not just that. Keith, you look at the firmware on this thing. I mean, where if it's supposed to be a cinematic FPV drone, like it seemed like it was tuned to like Mavic guys and stuff. Where can I set my shutter speed? Ken, have you found it in there?
I haven't seen. Yes, I don't think it's meant. And here's the reason why. I don't think it's meant. This is the biggest mistake that they've made with this drone. And like the Mavic guys, they probably won't understand this, because you only have one camera. You have the camera, or maybe you will understand this, because this happens. When you're flying the Mavic, you're typically flying that line of sight, right? Yeah. So if your shutter speed is super low and you're going fast, you still have eyes on your drone, right? But what happens if your shutter speed is super low? You get a lot of motion blur, or maybe the sky is blown out to where you can't visually see what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the biggest mistakes they made was they should have had a dedicated camera, like the Inspire has a dedicated FPV camera.
Oh, that's right, it does.
So no matter what's happening on your physical camera, you can see what's happening as far as like what's in front of you. So reality is they should have had a dedicated low latency camera additionally, and then have, a physically dedicated camera. I don't know. I think they missed the boat there. I mean, I understand why they did it, but
pricing probably. It's
probably
value engineering. Basically, it would have been the price point would have been
2 cameras.
Do you think they can do that in software where they could, give you your high shutter speed for your FPV goggles and still record something locally?
I don't know. I mean,
and would you use it?
I don't think they can, because the other problem is, let's say if you're filming in D-Cinelike, the other problem I have is I can physically see D-Cinelike as I'm flying. And the problem with seeing D-Cinelike is it removes a lot of contrast. So if you're flying through a wooded area, some of those trees and some of that scraggle and like that's around you is a little bit harder. It's harder to see.
Yeah, without the contrast.
But again, can't you should be able to do 2 parallel image flows.
You should be.
How
be able to.
How do they do it with the smart controller? Because like if I'm flying my Mavic 2 Pro and I'm in D-Cinelike, and then
your line of sight.
What you can do. That's true, Ken. That's true. But
your line of sight, that was never meant to be like, you're not like, if you ask anybody, they'll say, well, your Mavic, you should always be looking at your Mavic as you're flying it. And it's weird now, like if I fly my Mavic, I fly it slightly less well as I used to, because I'm so used to being behind the goggles just flying FPV every day that I don't feel as confident flying my Mavic as I do. And I used to never be like that. I could never be behind goggles. I used to get nauseous. Now that's the only way I can fly. But there should have been 2 cameras. And what they should have let you do is be able to toggle between the 2, so you can preview, like you can see, or at least say, okay, my exposure's good, everything's good. Let me toggle back to the low latency feed. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's version 1. I bet you if they do a second version, probably they'll say, okay, let's not do that again. Let's do something a little different. Or maybe like they incorporate a new Osmo. Like they could have made an Osmo. They could have made a lot of money with this release if they would have simultaneously released an action camera along with the FPV drone, because the people who aren't interested in FPV at all would have bought the action camera. The people who are interested in FPV but don't want to have anything to do with the drone would have bought the action camera. And then the people that wanted the drone, they would have bought bundles that had the action camera. Maybe I should just fucking quit YouTube and just go to marketing.
Yeah, you should go to marketing. You should go to design. Yeah, development, because that would be like a karma.
It seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed like a no-brainer.
It'd be like a karma. You're talking about like they could have done a karma.
I mean, look at GoPro. It didn't work for GoPro, but GoPro didn't have the knowledge or the infrastructure that DJI
or the software.
Or the software. So I mean,
yeah.
I mean that would have been what I would do.
If you were the product manager for this thing, and you said, okay, I've come into the company, someone else has built version 1. What are the things you would change for version 2? And that's not just a question to you, Dobo, but others as well.
Version 2, obviously it's got to be split cam, I think, or have at least a way that a person can mount their choice of camera to this, right? I think that would be super ideal. The other thing that I would say for this specifically would be presets. I mean, and this could be something they can actually enhance on this one, is presets, because everybody flies differently. And the problem is nobody knows what these numbers, like the rates, do. I mean, if you fly FPV, great, you understand that, but there isn't actually any expo waveforms to where you can see it. Like you have to know what these degrees mean. So when you're changing something, you're not just changing it to, like, let's say 1,000 degrees, and then all of a sudden someone tries it out and they're like, holy crap, I just put the drone into the ground. They need to understand that. The other thing I would think is maybe DJI can give us presets, like say, okay, here's a cinematic preset. Here's something for if you wanted to freestyle. I use air quotes on that heavily. Or if you were going to race, give us presets so it can give different feels without the end user having to actually know. Because if it's for a beginner, we'll give these beginners presets. Other softwares like EmuFly and KISS that I use all offer presets. You just click a drop-down menu and you know exactly how it's going to respond and feel. That would be
all
huge.
Of those things are software.
Yeah, those are all software, and that's the thing. There's a lot that can be fixed with software. Thing, yeah. Hardware-wise, the props should have never been visible. They would have needed to make this into a dead cat where the arms are slightly less out of frame. And I think if they would have made it a little bit longer, that would have been acceptable. Because the battery, I thought the battery was heavy, but it's really not. It weighs 284 grams on the battery. So it's not like the heaviest battery. So the weight is just the unit itself. I think if they would have went with carbon fiber, they could have shaved off a lot, but they were trying to make like a sealed unit. Like they wanted this thing sealed. So there were sacrifices and choices made. But I know a lot of people have talked about building a carbon fiber frame for this. I don't think that'll really work unless if they figure out a way to route the antennas, and we don't know what implications that would cause at this point to the way it flies, because you can't tune this. Yeah. So there's all sorts of things to consider when people are talking about doing that. I mean, they did well for what they. I mean, we should have expected
first step. It's a good first step, but it's
a good first step.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have liked to have seen some ingenuity in terms of connectors, and there's a reason why I say that. I would love to see in the next version of the product a plug and playable. You can replace components. You can put it on your own frame. You can use their controller, their flight system. But the reason they've already got DJI flight systems and controllers and things around, but it's still geared at the 100% hobbyists that are going to glue and screw and solder and do all of those kind of things. Research into a good form of connector that you can use for the different interconnections between things that's lightweight, but still able to do that.
Beagle drones, actually, I know a lot of people don't really like them in the FPV hobbyist world, but Beagle drones actually created like these really solid connectors for the motors. It was pretty intuitive. I thought it was pretty intuitive. They created like what I would say is the best beginner plug and play system, even though they weren't using, let's say, the highest quality parts, which they were called out for that, but they made those parts into a really simplistic plug and play unit for somebody who has no idea to just walk through, and it was intuitive, and they explained it to you and you understood it. But with this, if you break it, I mean, yeah, to a lot of people's point, you're going to send that into Care Refresh. You're going to let DJI fix it for you. But if you want to take it upon yourself, you're going to have to know how to solder. You're going to have to know how things come apart. There's a lot of screws in this thing. There's a lot of like, I scratch my head with it. Really, I do. There's a lot going on here. So they needed to make that stronger. They should have.
That's the one thing I would change. Plug and playable so that you can customize your airframe and a lot of other bits and pieces.
I mean, and they need time to really fine tune it. It does fly like crap though. Like at least for me.
For you,
I mean,
it
flies like crap. I mean, but to the normal person who buys this, they don't have a baseline to compare it to. They don't have a baseline to say, okay, this is worse than this. They don't have that. So they fly it and they're like, wow, this is amazing, but they don't have anything. They don't have any other metric to compare it to.
And I'm guilty of that, Ken, because I
come
from a Mavic to fly this thing, and
but that's
I've never flown FPV, true.
But that's
FPV.
what they're counting on. They're counting on people that are curious to buy it and be wowed. And I guess at the end of the day, you just give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be able to fix some of these problems that are there. I mean, now we're dealing with a wider range of people. So no longer do you have just the professionals that have the pre-release models. You now have hobbyists and newcomers. So those complaints are going to start hitting forums and requests are going to start being made. This is like Q&A. This is how every great product gets flushed out. And 6 months from now, maybe a lot of the things that people are complaining about will no longer be a complaint.
Yeah, the voice of the customer thing. The voice of the customer thing will come into play. Somebody just mentioned the braces, by the way, and I'm a mechanical engineer. At least
I wouldn't do it.
I think it's just going to transfer that energy to the rear legs or something else on the fuselage and cause more damage.
You're adding 40 more grams of weight to the drone.
And weight, right?
This thing already flies like
a potato.
I mean, it rolls slower than a fat lady at a strip club. I mean,
it's a 747 compared to a fighter jet. It's just a big, slow, Yeah.
I didn't understand what you meant by prop wash. I think I'm saying that right until yesterday when I had it in sports mode. Because
you know what I'm saying now. It's like it shudders. Like you can. Isn't it crazy how you can feel it, even though you can't feel that energy transfer into your hands? You can feel like the drone all of a sudden will like shudder, like it vibrates, and it's not even that you can feel it. You hear it. It's the weirdest thing. I never understood it till it would happen, but I can feel this vibration even though it wasn't physically being transferred in my hands. But that will stop you, and sometimes if the washout is bad enough, it can cause you to crash if it's significantly bad.
This sounds like a stall, like a partial. Is prop wash more like a partial stall?
Like turbulence on a plane, like you're hitting that turbulence.
So you get a little pressure. You basically have no lift. You lose lift briefly.
Exactly.
So it's almost like a stall condition. It's kind of like somewhere in between there, like a gray area.
What I've found is not going to zero throttle really helps out. So what would be cool is if they allowed you to set the minimum throttle to be a little bit higher. I think that would, because this thing, it weighs a lot more than your typical quad. On my quads, I keep the throttle a lot lower because I know what their threshold is. But with this, I think raising the throttle just a little bit would prevent that sort of vibration.
Is that in manual mode?
In manual mode. Yeah, manual mode. I don't fly it in sport. The only time I've ever flown it in sport is to land it, because it doesn't like landing very much in.
No.
I saw a couple of tumbles.
Is a dangerous. It tumbles, it teeters. I mean, you can do it in grass. You just double tap, get low enough, double tap. But I wouldn't have. I would just say land in sport mode. It's just a lot easier with this thing. It's not meant for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll break a battery like what Ken did. So.
That does stink that the battery has the landing feet on it. I understand why they did it. It's part of the design, but man, that's putting a lot of stress on a component.
It is, but I think some people will like 3D print like covers and stuff like that. You can put TPU. We're going to see a lot of 3D printed stuff.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm sure
for these, we'll see things that will maybe enhance the experience. I don't know how by how much. I do think $15 for the props is a bit expensive, to be honest.
It's spendy.
Like I buy a package of props for these, and they're $2-3, and you can hit something pretty hard and they're not going to break. These are very brittle props, though.
They feel pretty brittle. I'm flexing them right now.
They pretty much are.
Yeah.
Did you saw Ken's crash?
I did. Yeah.
And that level of crash, would you say that it's fair to assume that there was a bad connection there, or was it just not designed to have that much force? It wasn't a big touchdown.
It wasn't a big crash. And what's ironic about his crash is I suffered something similar when I was testing this unit out with Billy. When I was coming in, I was freaking out because this thing it didn't fly like an FPV drone. I was like, what the hell's going on? And I was coming down a little too fast, and I tapped the ground about as hard as Ken did, but it didn't damage anything. It bounced back up, and we flipped it in sport mode, and we landed it. What I think happened with Ken was, if you look at that parking lot where he was at, there was a lot of gravel. So it's very possible that a piece of gravel was unfortunately where he came down, and it was sitting up a little bit higher to where it would hit the bottom end of that battery and damage it. That's what I think would have happened. It's plausible anyways.
Yeah.
There are meant to be new modes coming for it. There is meant to be this cinematic mode coming for it in a future firmware update.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be one of those things. I think if somebody's frustrated with it now, they're probably going to get rid of it. But I think if people just hang on to it for a little while, they'll probably be pretty happy with what happens with it.
I agree.
It sucks because you want it to be the best possible product you can. And the other factor is, you don't want to justify, a manufacturer's shortcomings because you as a consumer, you're paying for this. So it's perfectly okay to be complaining about things. Like, you shouldn't have to accept, this is a first generation product. Maybe a couple of years ago, that's acceptable, but no longer in 2021 is it acceptable to sell somebody that's $1,200 that's not fully complete or fully baked. That's my thought.
But this is DJI at the moment, and
it's the same every time. They're never really ready for prime time when it comes out. There'll be a bunch of firmware updates to add things that are missing, the things they didn't have ready for launch because they wanted to launch it now. They had to get it out.
Think it was probably supposed to launch back in January. It was probably supposed to launch back in January. That's when we were initially told it was going to be launching, and then they pushed it back to March. So that time frame between now until March. Just imagine if you
did see it in January. Just imagine if you did see it.
Yeah, exactly. So could you imagine the complaints? Could you imagine the complaints if it launched in January? So it's one of those things where, I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, I mean,
the sim is still is a bit. It's useful when you get in for someone like me when you're trying to learn manual mode, but there's lots of Chinese characters still coming up, even in English.
At least you have it on iPhone. The Android guys like me, we don't even have it.
Again,
there's a drop of the ball with.
Now,
I agree.
Something that's great though. You can take that RC that you're using for this, and you can plug it into Liftoff, plug it into whatever computer you have, and you can use it, and it's going to work. And I would highly recommend anybody who's going to pick one of these up, just skip the DJI sim. And just fly like Liftoff or fly Velocidrone. because I will tell you that it's funny because those drones in there are sort of sluggish. So it sort of feels a little bit like what you're going to experience with the FPV drone, with the exception of there's no gravity. So, but as long as you can understand those things, just I would say try that. It's worth the $20 to get a simulator. $20 will save you $1,200.
10-4.
That's my thought on that.
Good thought. Yep. Liftoff.
Yeah, Liftoff or Velocidrone. It's on Steam. You can get them on Steam. And if I heard you got a massive computer anyway, so
yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not I'm a 7th Gen i9, but it's like.
But still, I mean, you can run that on high settings and it's super immersive and it's really fun. It's really fun. I'll play Liftoff even when it's raining and I can't fly. I'm on Liftoff just practicing and just pretending like, oh, this is really my drone. I set the batteries up so that way I actually have to. Land when my batteries are dead or whatever it is, it's super fun. I would recommend it though.
And you say the new DJI controller will work with it?
Yeah. You just plug it in, it'll recognize it. Yeah. And one of the nice thing with the DJI controllers are you don't have to go through all these issues with the drivers, like the Radio Masters and my FR Sky RCs. They would always say, oh, it's not working. It's not working because there's all these weird drivers that they use for OpenTX. I could never get them to work right or get them to work right for very long. So with the DJI controller, it almost recognizes it as an Xbox controller. So it's it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Cool. I might try that because the DJI one, I want to learn manual mode, but the DJI one is not brilliant.
Yeah, you just do a simulator. And the other thing is I'm finding that for manual, it's easier if I start out in manual than if I switch into manual, at 400 plus feet. Because what you have to do is you have to center your sticks and all this stuff. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I have my stick to where it's all the way down. My throttle is at 0. So I took the screen tension off.
Yeah, I did that when I was practicing. Yeah, I turned the 2 screws.
It feels so much better.
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm not ready yet. I only had one. I went through a battery and a half today before the blizzard hit. Basically, it was snowing upstate New York. It was lake effect came.
That's the other thing. I'm wondering how these would do in the snow. If they hit the snow, I know how my drones do. They freak out when they hit the snow. So one nice thing is it's sealed. It'd probably do okay if it's sealed. It's sealed. It's probably not going to be a big deal. That's probably the best time to learn manual, honestly, Chuck.
Really? I mean,
if you hit the snow, it's a soft landing.
Well, there wasn't enough of it. It was just kind of building up, but
okay.
But I see what you're saying though. A soft landing would be good.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you guys got all these new drones that have the really small the small drones, but they have no feet, no legs or anything. That's what I like about the Phantom series. They got that big. I know it looks awkward.
Clothes hanger on the bottom of them.
Yeah, it's huge. And I'm not sure.
And they're really, really good for doing your laundry as well.
I know. And you could dry it. You could fly it up and dry the clothes.
But there's so much, over here where I fly at, there's so much high grass, so much vegetation over here. It's really difficult. I can't imagine having some of the small drones like you guys are talking about right now, like the one you're showing right there, and trying to land that without the props actually hitting.
Ken pointed out you can hand catch it.
Yeah,
hand catch it on launch pad.
Yeah, I always hand catch them.
I fly by myself. You do it with yourself? You do fly with the controller and you catch it at the same time you do?
I just start it, let it go, and off we go.
You're a talented man.
I've been doing the Mavic 2 for. I've been doing
the Mavic 2. I hand launch. I mean, Would I hand launch? Would I hand launch like an FPV drone, like one of these in my hand?
No. The blades aren't the blades pretty much level with the base of the fuselage or the frame?
Yeah, I mean the chances of you putting it into your
puree your fingers.
Very great.
Yeah, no thanks.
Very great. I mean, that's one cool thing with the FPV drone. It's sort of taking some of the disaster situations out. There's a lot of fail safe in that. I mean, I see somebody in the groups. They cut their finger once or twice a week with these other quads.
They wear chainmail gloves.
Yeah,
aluminum ones.
If they could get past the weight issue. If they get past the weight issue, they should be doing something. Maybe you'll see it in the future, where they have drop down the drop down legs for landing, and then when it gets up.
You're not going to see it on an FPV. I don't think it's going to add complexity and weight, and this thing's already.
Yeah, well, that's why I said.
Really
that's what I said. If you could get past the weight issue on.
I mean, I think because
you go back and
focus on rigidity at this point. It's got to be carbon.
Simple and rigid, yeah, and replaceable.
Whatchamacallit, X Dynamics built a beautiful carbon fiber frame for their first Evolve drone. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was a beautifully polished carbon fiber frame. I don't know how durable it is. They said it was durable, and after flying a lot of these, I mean, I can see why we choose carbon fiber. But I mean, that would have been even better than this. But I get it. Cost is a big thing, but I don't think carbon, depending on how they cut it or they would have molded it, it would have been a tremendous difference. The problem is they're looking for a certain aesthetic, and all their drones sort of look the same way. They look similar, so it's unapologetically DJI regardless. So
yeah, I wanted to make a comment on something that you said earlier, and it had to do with, you said in 2021, this stuff should be ready for prime time when it first comes out. But a lot of that has to do with it's business dynamics. A lot of times what they'll do, if you have something and they have developers that go inside there, they have coders, and they have the people who have to do design of the craft itself. If it's they have money invested, they have lots of money. It has to do with drones, it has to do with operating systems for computers and everything like that. A lot of time these things are delivered to the consumer and they're not ready for prime time. But they build in the ability to change firmware and applications inside there. So because they have to look at making a profit. So they get it out there, they get it in the market, and it's one of those risk versus reward type of a strategy that they have, and it's a business strategy that they have. So that's why in 2021, and it's going to happen in 2022, it will always happen. There will always be things that are being pushed to market because they have so much investment in it. They got to start recuperating some of the investment that they have, and they have the opportunity to do the improvements, and that's what they do.
Except for one thing, and Chuck mentioned it before, the voice of the customer you were talking about before, Chuck. A lot of companies should be looking and working out how they can hear the voice of the customer before they launch products. That's the thing that needs to change.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And I've been claiming that for a long time because I come out of an industry that actually has to do with listening to the customer. And my customer was the government. But I think what happens a lot of times, specifically in the consumer market, which is what we're talking about right here, they don't really sit, or if they do, they're putting the wrong people, because a lot of the stuff that gets pushed to market and what you see, the feel, the way you do the application is defined by the coders, the people who are the smart technical people, but they don't put the people like you and me.
It depends on the company, though. It depends on the company. Yeah. The other issue is we're talking about a Chinese company. Nothing against any sort of Chinese companies, but the Chinese are inherently, and not even just DJI. I see this in the FPV world with other part manufacturers. Like 80% of them are Chinese made. They are very prideful people, and
and that's why their customer service
do not take criticism very well. Even if it's constructive criticism, they don't take it very well. Case in point, if you look at Skydio got a massive amount of backlash over telemetry being missing. And wouldn't you know it, after, me bitching about it, everybody complaining about it, Billy bitching about it, we were complaining about, like, how could you make this such an oversight? Like, within 2 weeks, they coded in their application telemetry. They realized and apologized that it was an oversight. But you look at like what they did, their product was pretty much, ready to go. I mean, it was as perfect as you could want for something like that. Like, it met most of your expectations when people got it in their hands, with the exception of some firmware things. But they were able to handle criticism from the market, from the consumer, turn around and make a better product. But with DJI, they never actually openly accept that criticism and say, okay, yes, you're right. We dropped the ball here. They'll never say that. But that's the difference between some of these other companies that I've noticed and just DJI specifically, is that other companies will say, yep, we were wrong, we should have did this. DJI will never admit that.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you on the DJI side, because I had the same experience, and that's with the smart controller. I don't know if we talked about this, about the battery issue. I had an issue with the battery on my first smart controller, and it wouldn't charge. It would never charge inside there. So I went on to bulletin boards and I started looking. I saw so many people had the same exact issue that I had, and it's a problem. And it basically identifies a problem with manufacturing. They have an issue, and they will not recognize that they had an issue inside there, and they don't, because they know it's a liability. It would cost them a lot of money.
I've seen those batteries explode recently.
Yeah, well, great, that's awesome. But DJI has never had good customer service because of what Ken pointed out, where Chinese people are very proud people. They don't like.
But it's a cultural thing. But they're never going to change until they have. They're never going to change until they have a viable competitor.
It's a support thing too. I mean, I see it in my line of work, not specifically my job, but dealing with other companies that I have to deal with support. It's almost like they are programmed to provide you with this runaround, especially when they know it's going to cost them money. We see this with laptop manufacturers. We see this with everything. They have all these different tiers of support that you have to escalate through before you actually get to the root of the problem and actually get things fixed, which is sad because as a customer, now you're spending countless hours on the phone trying to play through all of their hoops and games and shoots and ladders just to get your problem solved, and it just sucks. It just sucks.
They wear you out. They wear you out as a consumer.
Well, they're hoping you're going to go away. They're hoping you're going to go away.
Yeah, and you will. And if DJI gets more competition, so like the Skydio and Autel and everybody else, they get bigger. That's the key. That's the key. I mean, that's what DJI needs. They need to be slapped around. They need some bigger fish.
It's if we get that competition, though. It's if we get that competition, because right now it's like, Autel, they got the Evo. Is it their best possible product? No, it doesn't fly nowhere near as good as the Mavic. It's like second best in its class, but nobody wants to pay a premium price for the second best product, right? If you're going to pay a premium price, you want to know that you have the best possible product. And you're literally competing against a 2-year-old Mavic 2 Pro, which still, I mean, to me, is like at the top of the portable drone world, which is just insane that they produce such a future-proof product. And, Autel is nipping at that heels, and it's not even beating that at this point. So it sort of sucks. They got to step it up. They have to step it up. But again, money, resources, and time aren't on their side. It's not on any of these manufacturers' side.
I want to give just one example of a DJI support issue. If you're doing RTMP streaming from DJI Go 4, there was a bug where on an iPhone, if you click on the thing to put in the URL, it crashed the app. And that bug was well known about for 6 months, and DJI acknowledged it for 6 months. And during that time, they were doing software updates. But the problem is this thing is just one line of code to fix the crash. Why didn't they do that earlier? And that's what's frustrating. Things where people are being prevented from using a key feature and they just forget about it and keep going on their merry way and one day get to it.
Yeah, it depends on what the support staff, as they're fielding these calls, or how they're documenting these. I don't know how they receive these calls or like what happens with that information. Is it actually being reported to the QA team? Is it actually being reported to development? If it's not, well, now you have a disconnect. And the fact that, they are such a large company. I mean, globally, they're the largest drone manufacturer. So you have so many different faucets, touching each call, and whether or not if that person on the other end is actually, following through with whatever the complaint is. And if they have to click this to document this bug, maybe they don't. And maybe it never, maybe that happens, 1,000 times and nobody says anything. So it sort of sucks. It sort of sucks, but Skydio right now, I think, is the only one that is in sort of striking distance. They've just raised probably more money than anybody else. So what they do with that money,
just had a new raising this week.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they just raised a shit ton of money. So if there's anybody that can do something, it's those guys. And the fact is that their entire team is comprised of just brilliant people, from the manufacturing side of things to research development to for the people that are running the company. There's just soup to nuts. They're just, they're a software company more than a drone company than anything. So I think they will put out something next that really surprises a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a viable competitor to DJI. They need it.
Somebody says, surprised DJI hasn't tried to buy Skydio. Skydio is not for sale, period. And that they've said that. Adam said that several times. They're just not for sale. That's like when Facebook.
Someone's always for sale at the right price.
Well, and that's the thing. They had the time frame to do that, and they didn't. It's just like when Facebook tried to buy Snapchat, and Snapchat said no to their $3 billion. Now they're worth $93 billion. So Adam knows what he has. He also knows that the leverage is they are an American company, and that is worth more than anything that DJI can pay them at this time. Like they'll lose that. They lose that if they are sold to a Chinese company, and they know that, so they're going to hang on to that everything they have. So that's why they haven't been bought.
I reckon DJI's smartest game, if they wanted to do something in that space, would be to buy 49% of Skydio.
Yeah, but they would have to be publicly traded at that point, or there would have to be somebody willing to sell that 49%. But that's the thing; they're not a publicly traded company. But sure. I could see that if it was. But I'm sure that's also something, that they've all considered. Like, when do you go public, right? When do you go public at that point? Right now, they're still taking private investments. Now if somebody has an investment in that company that's not actually their own money, that's traced back to DJI, well then now they own 49% of whatever it is. But I mean, I don't think that's the case though. Yeah. I think they're pretty clear on who they're working with.
Anyway, gents, I'm going to disappear and chill out and enjoy my day. It was fun popping in for a bit.
Good to see you, Greg.
Take it easy, Greg. Good talking to you.
Thanks for coming.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
What time is it over there in Australia right now? I meant to ask him.
It says around noonish, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon now, I think.
Okay. Gotcha. And Nemo, you're over in UK?
No, I'm in Thailand, so it's 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.
9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, he's 12 hours. He's 12 hours ahead of us, Ken.
Gotcha.
That's why we always say we're gonna when Keith and I are talking on Discord or whatever. It's like catch you on the flip. It's like,
quite literally.
Yeah. Because he and I, we talk a lot. Keith and I, we're buds.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go dip out as well. I'm packing for tomorrow to try to get some flying. It rained all day, so I'm trying to get some flying in. The first thing I could be at about 7 in the morning. So
nice. Cool.
All right,
hope the weather holds for you, Ken.
Thanks for coming in.
Guys,
nice to meet you.
Nice to talk to you later. Cheers to meet you, Ken.
Bye.
And Art, I'm going to pop out here in just a minute, but I just want to show you something real quick. I want to share something with you, which is going to be a project that's going to be starting this week. You should start seeing some videos on this. We're doing on the back of the house, where I have a temporary awning. It's actually lasted a lot longer than I anticipated it sitting there. We have this rollout awning that goes, but it's horrible. It's ugly. Let me show you. I'm going to share something with you. It's a project that will probably be starting maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll show you the design. I'll show you the top and the bottom of the design. Here's one picture right here. And it's going to wrap around. It's going to go around the lanai where the barbecue,
Nice.
and it goes around the sunroom. That's one picture. And I'll show you we're going to use the same roofing tile that we used on the top of our house. It's the same company. It's Decra. And here's the other picture with the roofing tiles on the top. So you see what that is right there.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's
sorry.
What's
James,
that?
I'm wondering how you're going to match the weathered tiles on the roof.
It's well, unless we have another volcano eruption around here.
So I was wondering, how do you match them?
I believe it or not, I still have leftover volcanic ash that I use because it makes for real fertile when you do mixture of your composting and for your vegetables and for your plants. I have a bunch of that left over, but I can't see me throwing a bunch of volcanic ash on the top to try to get it
to like season them and give them the right patina.
Yeah. And
I can see you doing it.
The pitch of the roof is way too steep for me to get up there and try to get a pressure washer and clean off the existing tiles up there. I'm not going to do that. So it's just it's not a big deal. How many people accept? Yeah, I'll get the drone to do it. Yeah, that's right. It's got the big feet on it, right?
Hang the pressure washer on there and
But
James,
that's a project. That's a project for this week.
James, take some of that ash. If you know someone that's a glass blower or does something with glass, take it to them. It'll make beautiful green glass, depending on what the chemical composition is.
Is that copper?
Of that ash.
Don't you get green from copper?
It's gray. It's gray. It's like gray black.
But that's just in like its raw form. When you actually cook it, like they're gonna heat it up to what 1500 degrees Celsius.
I don't know.
Well, that's what they did with Mount St. Helen, with her ash. Somebody had the brilliant idea of taking some of that ash and they heated it up, and they were able to make. They were able to put it under pressure, heat it up, and they made gemstones out of it.
Cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some jewelry. But again, that's an upcoming sometime this week. It depends. I think they're scheduled. I think they said they're going to bring it, because what I had them do, because most of the time when they build here, they come to your site, and anything that has to do with ironwork, especially if it's your roof. But this is a small area. Normally they come to yourself. They bring all the material, all the ironworks. They do all the welding, the grinding, the painting at your place. But since it's basically two sections, it's a 90-degree kind of a thing.
Right.
And they're going to do the construction at their shop of all of that. And then they're going to bring the two pieces out here, mount them and weld them together, and then install the roofing tiles.
Cool.
It would probably already been done, but it was for the stock. They didn't have it in stock. The color of the roofing tiles that we're using here, the Decra Milano, our color it's called Rosso. It's like a reddish color, but they didn't have it in stock, so we're waiting on that to come in. But that'll be hopefully this week, and we'll get that one, and that'll be a big improvement to the house for us. Give us a little bit of shade, a little bit of protection from the rain, and then there's a really big project coming, probably after the summer, after we make a quick trip back to the U.S. We're doing I'm not even going to tell you what that is yet. So it's a very exciting project. But it's out there near the swimming pool.
Do you have quarantining in the Philippines at the moment? Or
we're in quarantine now. We're under. I don't know if it's modified ECQ or ECQ, and basically it's pretty much what the rest of the world is kind of doing. You just can't go anywhere without face mask, even when the delivery people.
No, I mean, if you fly to the US, are you going to be allowed straight back in again, or do you have to do 14 days in a hotel?
Well, that's interesting you said that, and for us, well. it's really I'm telling you, they're making it more and more complicated. We stay in direct communications with the Philippine Retirement Authority. We have a point of contact because we're kind of a representative for the PRA for people who like to retire here, and we get the word out on our channel every now and then from what they advise us. Well, we just got an advisory from them. They just change every month. If not every couple of weeks, something seems to change. And right now, what we have to do, and we haven't done it yet, and it's getting more and more complex. There's a 7-day requirement, a 3-day requirement. There's a 14-day or a semi-day requirement. So there's a requirement to let them know we're leaving the country. We have to tell, and that's us because we're under the SRRV. It's a Special Resident Retirement Visa. We're permanent residents here in the Philippines. So we have to tell them, because they do everything for us with the Bureau of Immigration, PRA. But that's one good thing about working with the PRA and having this type of visa. We never speak to the Bureau of Immigration. We never deal with them at all. They're the middleman for us. So we have to send in some documents. It's basically, we give them a copy of our passport with our picture page. We give them a picture of our visa. And then we have to fill out an application saying when we're going to fly. And what they do is they communicate with the BI. They'll let them know we're going to be leaving the country. Then we have to tell them when we're coming back. There's some application forms that you have to do for when you come back. But I think this new thing kind of complicated matters a little bit. It's like you have to submit that 3 days before you fly out of the country that you're going to visit to come back. So we have to contact the PRA, say we're coming back in. And I think what they do is they get with the Bureau of Immigration, the BI, and when we go through the airport, in their computer system, there's already something in there that says, we're expecting these people to come back in. Don't stop them, because without that, then you have to have like an interview with the BI at the airport and do things like that. So they're trying to make it, they're simplify it, but it's kind of complicated. Then, yes, the original thing you asked about quarantine, we have to go into an authorized, that the BI, the Bureau of Immigration, or the Department of Foreign Affairs, we have to go into a hotel somewhere, and they have an authorized list. So we have to look through the authorized list, because we would probably like to stay as close to our house here in Batangas as possible. And I don't know how many days before they clear us before they come through. Some people say 6 days. Some people say 14 days. I don't know the actual amount on that. So
fair enough.
So it's complicated. It's complicated, but it's something that we're going to deal with. We just have to make sure that we follow the dots.
Connect the dots.
That's good to know because I'm still working and coming back. I mean, if I have to quarantine, that's like 10 days that I'm out of work. I don't have any more vacation.
You really have to be prepared. You really have to think ahead, and you have to have backup solutions: Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. You have to have all of that.
They're talk finally certainly in the Asian market. They're talking about vaccine passports again, which will mean that if you get vaccinated, you will avoid all of this. But they're still very, very sort of concerned because they don't have enough data to show, even if you're vaccinated, are you still able to transmit it? And that's the thing.
I think in some of the more developed countries, I think that'll probably pass through quite fast. But I think for us to be able to have expectations of the return back to the Philippines, saying, "Oh, we got our vaccines," I don't think by the time we plan on doing, I don't think it's realistic to think that'll be in place. It might be, it could be, I don't know. But that is one of the main reasons why we want to go back early summer for our trip. We want to get our vaccines because we're hearing nothing about progress of the vaccines around here. So Ness is one of those pre-existing conditions because she has asthma. So we want to make sure that she gets that all taken care of. So she has a little bit more peace of mind while we're doing anything that we need to do. So,
and I have sleep apnea, so that's an issue for me. So I'm waiting in line, so to speak. Pretty soon they'll be doing people 60 and up, and so I'm waiting to hear what's going on here in Colorado.
Well, we're actually in good shape because Ness works for a government agency in the U.S. She works from here, but for a government agency in the U.S. And they've already notified her that they're already right now. They've already got the thing. If we were there, she would have her vaccine already. I fall under the VA. The VA has already gone through the schedule. It's basically just make an appointment, let them know, and they're ready to. The VA is doing really good supporting vets back in the U.S. So I think I'm good. So I have high expectations that we will be 100% done with our vaccines by the time for our return back up here. So we'll be good. We just got to get over there, and we got to. It's the hurdles of getting out of the country and getting back into the country. The vaccine.
I'm worried about going to Scotland. I'm worried about the same thing because I can't.
Yeah.
There's no way I can take 2 weeks in Scotland plus 2 weeks quarantine in Scotland plus 2 weeks in the U.S. quarantine. I mean that. No, I don't have 6 weeks.
That's the problem, and I can't do 14 days in a hotel room. Mate. It'll drive me potty. I'm a bit claustrophobic, and that'll just throw me out. So I mean, I can get I can get the vaccine pretty much now in the UK. You can start booking it, but I'm not doing 14 days in a hotel room, especially at the cost, because it costs me, and it'll be $1,500 starting off, and that's not a particularly great hotel, which you have to put up with. You don't have any control over the food. You can't do anything. It's so no. We don't have much in the way of the virus here at the moment, so we're reasonably safe. Touch wood. We had a breakout at the beginning at Christmas, but it's been dealt with for the most part. So I just can't go home at the moment. That's the annoying thing.
Right.
Well, Keith, I don't know if you were watching last week. It was either last week or the week before, and we were talking about that, about the hotel, the quarantine in the hotel situation. And I brought up the topic that there's some crazy stuff going over here where they're telling couples that are coming back in that they have to have separate rooms, that they can't even be in the same room. And Yeah, so that's something that we want to make sure that that's all coordinated before that we don't get stuck in one of those situations, because that's going to double your costs too. You're talking, and it's not cheap. And you're right. And I absolutely believe that there's some gouging going on here, that being taken advantage of the situation, and it's a shame. But these are things you have to be aware of, and you need to prepare before you make these reservations and all these things you need to do.
It's a shame. It's a shame, but I'm better off where I am at the moment than trying to go through all that paperwork to get home and get back here again. You're better off here. I can thankfully now renew my visa from within the country, so it's at least there's that, and I'm not having to worry about that. But 14 days, well, it's 15 days here at the moment. 15 nights, 16 days is the standard. Unless you've got.
What kind of visa do you have over there? What type of visa?
I have what's called a non-immigrant O visa based on marriage, which means which entitles me to live here. I don't have a work permit, but I work for a UK company, and I'm in IT, so I can do my job pretty much anywhere, as long as I've got a decent internet connection. So that's how I get around it. But you still have to have. They still make you jump through a few hoops. But because I'm married, it is easier.
So how often do you actually have to do, like, reapply to get a renewal? How often do you do it?
Every year.
Every year. Well, every year. The SRRV is an annual thing, but they make it very well. I got to admit, again, I got it, and this is a plug for the Philippine Retirement Authority. They gave you the option that you can apply for 3 years at a time. So we did our first 3 years. We're in our second 3 year set right now, so we don't have to deal with anything except, again, unless you're traveling during a pandemic. We don't really have to deal with anything that has to do with immigration. But once every 3 years. Very easy.
There is a thing that benefits people who are loaded called the Thailand Elite visa, which means you can get it for 5 or 10 years. But we're talking the minimum. The 5-year visa is it's 1,600,000 baht, which is it's about 30,000 quid. So you're looking at $50,000 just to get a 5-year visa. It does get you through the airport quicker. Not that matters at the moment.
Now let me ask you, because they have things like that. The PRA for the SRRV visas, depending on which one you get, how you qualify, and your age and your status. In the Philippines, say like you're a younger person, because remember this is for mainly for retirement, but I think it's people above 35. But if you're a younger person and you're single, you can actually come over and retire here in the Philippines. And there's a situation similar to what you're talking about. You put money in a bank account, and it's depending on your age and your status, again, depends on how much you put in, and it could be up to as much as, I think, around $50,000. But it sits inside here. It doesn't gain interest. You don't get anything. But if you decide to leave, they return that money to you. How about in Thailand? Is that the same way?
No. With that, my requirement is I have to have 400,000, which is probably about $15,000 in the bank.
And that's because you're married. You're married to a local.
Yeah. The Thailand Elite, no, you're paying them that. You're paying $50,000 to the Thailand Elite, i.e. the government, to have that visa, and that gives you 5 years, 10 years residency.
I don't want to add insult to injury, but you know how much I pay annually for my visa?
Go on.
$15.
Yeah.
That's less. That's about what I paid to get my freaking drone registered in the UK for another year.
It's $15. We pay 3 years at a time. It's $45. We pay for $45. We don't have to worry about any. We are permanent residents of the Philippines.
I will never be that, but I'm okay with it. Or I have to be okay with it. I could sit here being worried about it and panicking about it, and I just wouldn't live my life. So, it's the way of the world. I just have to touch wood and pray that I'm going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way of things.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Well, Art, it's around that bewitching hour for me. I got to actually get outside and do some work around the house.
Great to have you as always, James. And,
well, thanks so much. It's good to see everybody here, and
good to see you,
I got to
James.
talk with.
Nice to meet you, James.
Today. Yeah, same here. Chuck, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Likewise, man, James. It's always fun. I have to get caught up on your stuff. I've been so wrapped around between work and trying to find time to fly the new drone. I've been a bad boy when it comes to visiting other channels. So
yeah, same thing with me. Same thing with me here. I've been so busy getting everything into. There's just been so much. There's so much going on right now because normally I try to post 2 or 3 videos a week, and I'm getting down to just like 1 a week because I'm so preoccupied with some. Things are going on. Yeah. But I have a couple of interesting ones. This one, I'm going to try to download today's. If I can download today's episode and just cut just maybe a 10-second segment out of it, and I'll put that. That's all I need to finalize my video for the one about the review of the mic and the lighting system right here. So hopefully you notice today that there's an improvement over.
Looks good. Yeah. Everything looks good. Audio's good.
Don't hear any birds or
like the birds
waterfall in the background.
I kind of like that's relaxing though.
Want to go to the bathroom, like
people pay money for that though.
And that's another reason why I got to get off here. It's about time for after about 3 cups of this morning. It's about time for me to head out.
I think Keith and I we're a little late for another. We were going to do a little thing on 2K drones mainly on Keith's channel, but it's on mine too. You can pick your channel.
That's right.
You can go to Covaction. You can go to the K spot. You can watch the same thing.
But there's a lot of good stuff out there, and my nephew who I told you about, he crashed. He's that super fast racing drone.
Yeah.
And I told you about him crashing the drone here that day when he lost control, and he just crashed, and the battery crushed inside, and the GoPro 7 he had toast. It's toast. Stuff like that. But he's always asking about good channels to go to, and I said you need to watch this. And I said, especially if you want to be up to date, because he built everything from kits, and he's a master. I said, and if you want to learn some stuff, and I said, Greg Show. I told him to go over to his show and take a look because he always has really interesting things. Because he likes looking at things. What I like about Greg's show, he brings in those marketing videos from the manufacturers, and you get early idea of what their prototypes are. Things like that. So he does a real good job on there. So hopefully he picks up a few viewers from that as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much.
Nice
and take care, James. Good to see you.
Peace out.
Everybody have a wonderful weekend. All right.
Yeah. You too, buddy. Take care, James.
Will do.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Bye. See you soon. And then there were 3.
There was 3.
Yes. The Genesis
the
reference.
Amigos.
Genesis reference. A very fine recording at that.
So
for me,
what part of where are you in Thailand? Are you near Bangkok or are you?
Yeah, about an hour out of Bangkok in the province of Chonburi. It's called. So
like the way Keith says that. Chonburi.
Yeah, it's about. I'm about 45 minutes from sort of the outskirts of Bangkok. Near the airport, but far enough away that it doesn't affect us that much. We're near the beach. It's quite nice.
Oh, nice.
So
cool.
it's right. We do get some interesting weather here, though. I was listening to what James was saying about basements. I'm thinking they would have to be pretty watertight if we were to build a basement here because of the level of water that we get.
Exactly. Yeah, the water table is quite high.
Well,
that's why I was surprised.
Like what he said. He's up on a hill where he doesn't have that issue, and plus, he's got a sump pump built in, and that's like when I lived in Michigan, the water table is so low that every basement has to have a sump pump.
By code, yeah. Same thing in New York. And mine works pretty hard when good share of the year. Mine's working. I'm on number 3.
We have a pump here that just has to do the pressure in the house, and that's always interesting because it doesn't always decide to work.
Yeah.
Joys of living here, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not complaining because I love it, and we managed to purchase our house, and what we have here would never have got in the UK for the same amount of money. So it's
right.
It's we're very happy with it. It'll never be completely mine because of Thai ownership laws and things like that.
Right.
But again, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Good deal.
In the Philippines, I can own a condo, but I can't own a house.
Yeah, it's the same here. It is the same here. You can't. I can own the house. I just can't own the land that it's on.
Right.
So that's how we've kind of done it. It's complex, but that's kind of how we've done it. So it's but yes, you can own a condo, which that's the same here. Yeah.
Cool.
But, yeah.
And then,
yeah. So I thank you for inviting me today as well. I appreciate
thanks for
it.
coming. Good to see you. And Chuck has been talking up your channel and you for the last several weeks here. So
yes, I know. I watch the replays because usually I'll admit that I'm not up usually this early on a Sunday, but I did. Today I thought, well, we've got our own stream going on, so I'll get up, and I did. I just needed to go down about 10 cups of coffee in a minute, I think.
The coffee break, Keith, before our next one.
Yeah, just quickly.
Fair enough.
All right, guys. Well, we've done 3 hours here, so I thank you for coming. We had a good group tonight. I mean, full panel, 6 people. I don't think I've ever had more than 4 or 5 on the show. That was great. And
awesome.
Ken Dono coming in, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yep. Timely, because I had questions for him, and he had no problem answering all the questions. That was good stuff. It's really good stuff.
All right. Well, let's say goodnight, everybody in the chat. Thank you for coming, Robbie, Jim, JDS, Henry, Michael, Brad, Tom, Matt, Sarah, and all the rest. Thank you all for coming to the show. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next weekend. James, thank you. Good to see you. Take care, everybody. Keep them flying.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Art.
Thanks,
Night, everybody.
Good night.